Hello everybody and welcome back to Classical Storytime. Today we are again playing PAX Astra. Which one was I on? Oh goody. Oh, that's the one. Oh goody. Where were we? Alright. Today we're going to continue playing and figure out what to do next. Alright, you reach for it. What are we doing? Vicario. He says it is an urgent matter. Tells you to come to your office now. You get up. You get dressed quickly. You go to your office. Fun. Don't even know where I was. Something big. Something happened, Mr. President. Something big. I believe you are familiar with the Outer Rim. The region beyond the limits of our known galaxy. A short pause. What you might not know is that the Empire kept bases out there. Several of them. Even at my level, the purpose was never disclosed. Some said research. Others argued military reasons, that these bases served as a strategic precaution against possible threats from outside our galaxy. He lets that sit for a moment. And sir, we just received a transmission coming from far deep into the Outer Rims. It is Imperial code. Whoever sent it included coordinates. And they're asking for a rescue mission. Sir, this is unexpected. I know this isn't strictly a military matter, he keeps it straight, but space operations fall under my command as well. And I can assure you, if you give a yes, we can move it with a rescue mission. We shall send a single exploration trip. Make it discreet. I am just awaiting your orders. Vicario steps back in. The decision is yours, sir. But I must remind you, we don't know who sent that message. But one thing we know is that they are tied to the Empire. I am almost certain that the pack intercepted this transmission. They're likely still trying to break the code. We have an advantage, yes, but it is a small window. That advantage won't last. Sending a mission carries risks, sir. We don't know what's out there. In the moment we move, the pack will notice. Ciro leans forward slightly. Sir, if we don't act, they will. They'll take control. Whoever sent that message, the person will end up in pack custody. Oh, I can't speak. Cool. Sir, despite my time in the Empire, despite what I still believe, I am against this. The Empire had many strengths, but it also left behind many things that should never be found again. A beep. If any part of the Empire survived outside of the galaxy, it won't be the part worth saving. His eyes stay on you. Mr. President, I disagree with Vicario. If there's anything out there and we sit on it, the pack will take it. He leans in slightly. They'll control it, not us. A short pause. A signal like this doesn't come out of nowhere. There's something out there. It wants us to find it, and it could help Altara. Or condemn us. Yeah, I'll send a rescue mission. Ciro nods. Understood, sir. All the ship ready to depart immediately. One crew, discreet. They'll be back by the end of the week. He leaves without wasting another second. Vicario stays. I disagree with this decision, but it is yours to make. He looks at you steady. I trust your judgment, Mr. President, and I sincerely hope to be wrong. You go back to your sleep. Next morning you wake up and go straight back to work. Got that 9 to 5 going on. Pension Fund Restructuring Act in order to address... Oh, everybody hates this. Stability -7. I can't do this. In order to address short-term fiscal pressures and ensure the long-term viability of public finances, this bill authorizes the government to redirect a portion of public pension reserves into state-managed liquidity instruments. Funds will be partially reinvested in the government bonds and infrastructure projects, which returns promise to pensioners over an extended horizon. Labor unions and workers' organizations have condemned the measure as a theft of earned benefits, while the administration frames it as a necessary structural adjustment. Socialist and progressive blocs have announced unified opposition. Dang, nobody likes it. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of that. Essential Services Means Testing Act. Conservatives like it. Stability -6. Ooh. Not sure I like that either. This bill introduces mandatory income-based eligibility criteria for access to subsidized public health care, housing, assistance, and social support programs. Citizens have a defined income threshold will be gradually phased out of state benefit coverage and redirected towards private providers. Opponents argue the reform targets spending more efficiently and reduces fiscal waste. Critics counter that the threshold is set too low, effectively stripping protections from work. I can't take that stability hit, is my issue. A knock on the door. It's Marius. Sir, we have a problem. Short pause. It regards the nationalization of... Oh, goodness. Polanics. Oh, I gotta write that down on the lore real quick. I forgot to write down anything about... Oh, no! Oh, yes, okay. I was worried for a second. I left the stream on the nonsense that I had it set to. Alright, Corpos. Yeah, Palanix. Palanix? Whatever, just get it on there. Alright, that's it. Actually, sir, I'm not alone. He asked to speak with you. The door opens. Krister walks in. Good morning, Mr. President. His insectoid frame fills the doorway. Those eyes lock on yours and don't move. Krister steps in without waiting. As you must understand, your decision regarding Palanix cannot stand as lawful. During the transition, Altara entered binding agreements with the Pact. Those agreements were not symbolic, no, they were conditions for the reconstruction of Altara. Foreign assets, particularly those tied to Pact infrastructure, were placed under explicit protection. Palanix falls under that protection. What you have done, by decree, constitutes a direct breach of those terms. Simply put, it is a violation of the law, and yet you proceeded. Not only a violation, it is also a challenge against the goodwill of the Pact that allowed Altara to stand again. I will be clear on one point. I will not undo your action, but that does not absolve you of consequence. He taps the tablet Marius brought. The compensation issued to Mr. Savante is not compliant. Under the Reconstruction Charter, protected assets must be compensated at full structural value. Let me repeat it, not political value, not internal estimation, not a partial compensation, but full structural value as defined by Pact standard assessment. He looks at you, calm, certain. What you paid does not meet that threshold, not even close. What? No, we already paid compensation. You want to take even more money from our treasury? I will not allow it. We both know you are serving the Pact. You are bending the law. You only serve the interests of capital, Krister. I was not trying to breach the agreements. This was a mistake, and Altara will comply. We already paid compensation. As I just told you, what you paid does not meet the standard. Compensation under the agreement Altara signed during the transition is not defined by your assessment. It is defined by projected value, and that can only be stipulated by the Interstellar Pact. Palanix is a protected asset. Your figure falls short compared to the real value, which is set by the Interstellar Pact. Now, regarding the compensation, I've already acted. Jeez! Under my authority as Grand Judge, I issued this early morning an emergency compliance order. Well, I guess I should have taken the 10 budget thing. Altara was found in immediate breach of its transitional obligations. The adjusted compensation has been calculated under Pact standards and executed. The funds have already been withdrawn from your treasury, transferred in full. His eyes stay on you. The debt is settled. You are now in compliance. Congratulations. 15 budget points were what the crap? I request a revision by the rest of the Supreme Court. You can laugh now, Krister. I will act, and you won't be laughing. Jeez. Are you insane, or you can laugh? You can laugh now. Are you threatening me, Mr. President, or are you threatening the institutions you have sworn to uphold? Over and over, I try to teach you very patiently. I do my best, trying to make you understand your position. But you continue to test limits you do not control. This is not a fight you can win. Let me make this very clear. You've chosen to antagonize the Pact again and again. You push against the democratic institutions of Altara as if they don't apply to you. At the heart of your government, at the start of your government, I gave you the correct course. That patience is running thin. You keep crossing that line, and if you continue, I will move to have you impeached. Make no mistake in darkness. Crap, I remember that now. This is a threat. Krister leaves the room. I'm sorry. I tried to stop him. The Pact took this badly. What happened with Palanix, it hit them hard, and it's not good. We're running a deficit, Mr. President. If we're still here by the end of the year, they'll move to impeach you. Ah, crap, we have time. Till the end of the year, after the resolution of the War Tribunal, we have until there to fix things properly. I must go now. I will prepare more bills for the AUP to pass through Congress. We have work to do in the coming days. But I assure you, Mr. President, we have things under control. We will meet again later today, actually, but we both have an invitation to visit the Midas Consortium. Marius leaves the room. You are left alone. You hear a knock on your door. It is Vicario. He steps in, closing the door behind him. You have an item in your schedule tonight. The Midas Consortium. They're the oldest bank in the galaxy. They are known for dealing and lending capital to almost every single nation in the galaxy. Except the throne of Zalta and the USS. One of their representatives requested this. Lady Carthage. This is important, sir. Midas has been around for centuries. They are powerful. We should hear what they have to say. And with our current financial situation with our deficit, we could use some help. Worst of all, the Empire took a heavy loan during the last months of the war, and to this day Altara never repaid them. This is important, sir. If Midas tries to charge us for this old debt, we will get ourselves into an alarming situation. Why don't they make business with Throne of Zolston and USS the name Midas for his confine? Will Marius be president as Minister of Economy? He should be there with the oldest bank in the galaxy. Like, leeches to me. Why don't they do business with Zolston, USS? As you might have noticed, things get controversial when it comes to Zolsta. They are a theocracy, and due to the flesh sacrifices and extremist views, they are seen as dangerous by the Consortium. They outright refuse to engage with the Throne of Zolsta. Now for the USS, they have a mutual hatred. Before the Vilgaxa Revolution and the subsequent expansion and consolidation of Locke, most planets of the USS lived under liberal governments, many of which had a profound connections to the Consortium. One of the very first acts of the Vilgaxa upon the conclusion of the initial revolution was to seize all assets of the Midas Consortium. Not only that, the economic activity inside the bloc is highly centralized and goes under extensive scrutiny. Even if they had a good relationship, Midas would never find any leverage or market under regulation of the USS and Chairman Saxa. Why don't they make business? I just asked that. Hey, Midas, will Marius be there? Who cares? Oldest bank of the galaxy. Yeah, I'm ready. Let's go. You meet with Marius at the transport ship. Your destination is Babel, an enormous and luxurious station. It sits relatively close to Altara Prime, far closer than Swandorio. Your journey in space only costs you 3 hours. Really? Babel is a private orbital station owned entirely by the Midas Consortium. It serves as their headquarters, but that is only part of its purpose. The station exists as a meeting ground for powerful people from the entire galaxy. Heads of state, corporate figures, diplomats, intermediaries, anyone who matters eventually passes through Babel. The structure is built around excess and scale. Thousands of restaurants operate inside the station. All of them luxurious, serving the best food in the galaxy. All of them designed for privacy. At any given time, most of them are fully empty. This is the point. That is the point. Space, silence, and discretion are part of the service. Nothing there is meant for the public. Financially, the station runs at a loss. It always has. The Consortium does not care. The cost is insignificant compared to their broader operations. Babel is not meant to generate profit. The entire structure stands as a symbol, a statement to the power of Midas, a beautiful temple to those who truly run the galaxy. It orbits a diamond planet, also under Midas ownership. Most people get Midas wrong. They look at the numbers, the reserves, the scale of their fortune, but they miss the full picture. You want to know what is the true nature of their power? Debt. Their connections. The people they deal with. The doors they can open and close. They hear things before they become public, and they make deals that never get recorded. That's where their real weight is. And there's something else, something you must know. They were close to the Empire. Very close. Your ship docks into Babel. Now look, we must be very careful with the type of conversations we have inside that place. They hear everything. Understood? The door's open. It's time to meet the Midas Consortium. You step out into Babel's docking bay. The air is still controlled. No noise behind the hum of the station. Marius walks beside you as you move inside. The corridors are extremely wide. Marble floors, polished to a mirror. No guards, no staff, no guests in sight. No one. Your footsteps carry further than they should. Then, at the far end of the hall, you see it. A figure, tall and mechanical. It moves slowly, steady, with no sense of urgency. A veil drapes over its head, thin, shifting slightly as it walks. A music starts playing, coming from all corners of the station. Who is that, Marius? Sir, I've never seen one of the core members of Midas family, but I believe it's the Carthagena. Oh boy, the Carthagena! The figure finally reaches you. You see a humanoid form. Oh goodness, I'm gonna have to write this down. Give me a second. Midas Consortium. The figure finally reaches you. You see a humanoid form of polished metal. Empty eyes stare back at you. It is a pleasure to finally meet you, Mr. in Darkness. Why did I do that? That's so cringe. The Midas Consortium has finally been looking forward to this meeting. Forgive me. My manners. I am Carthage, youngest daughter of Enoch, I'm enchanted to meet both of you. I will be your guide today. She turns slightly, the movement precise. Babel is entirely at your disposal. We have no other guests. The station has been reserved for you and you only. Before we begin, I would like to offer you a brief tour of Babel, and if you allow me, a look into the history of the Midas Consortium. In addition, we keep an extensive collection of human artifacts. I believe you may find them worth your time. She turns slightly. Your Minister of Economy has been accounted for. I was told he has an interest in the Second Grand War. He has an interest in the Second Grand War. Okay. We maintain a complete archive of that conflict. He will receive a separate tour. That's unexpected. He looks at Carthage. There's barely anything left from the Second Grand War. I find it to be such an interesting conflict, especially when it comes to all the mythos and legends. And still, people barely talk about it. Carthage tilts her head just a fraction. Precisely. It requires a certain eye. Most people look at the Second Grand War as some mythical event far back into the past, more legend than history. But I find it to be so rich, so mysterious. It reminds me of a time where the galaxy was not so connected, when our minds could wander into fantastical stories of heroes and legends. The fall of Gaul, the disappearance of an entire species. Is that not so charming and interesting? The Second Empire recorded history, led by men who claimed to speak for the gods. For God, She holds Marius there just long enough. At Midas, we value history very highly. It is a privilege to protect the past of the galaxy and keep the memories of these events. When it comes to the Second Grand War, we possess a vast collection of historical archives, war weaponry, and even footage. Well, I would love to see your collection. That is great to hear. Now, Mr. President, before we begin our tour, do you have any questions? Are you a robot? This music, tell me more about it. I believe this meeting will prove very fruitful for Auto. We praise the flow capital in Lata. Autonomy with the free market as long as it benefits our people. Let us start this tour. Are we here to discuss business or visit a museum? The music, tell me more about it. Okay, you noticed. Short pause. Beethoven. Corellian Overture. Human composition. Very old. He was one of their geniuses. Such a sophisticated composition, would you not say? There's little left of that culture. Shameful so much culture and history lost. We preserve what can be preserved. I would love to show you more of curious. I can't speak, so apologies. I would love to show you more of our curated collection. Yeah, let's start the tour. Of course, Mr. President. We are not extremists. We believe Altara can gain a lot by adopting a balanced position. I truly believe every leader can achieve wonders by allowing the state to benefit from the wonders of free market. Alright, okay, let's begin the tour then. Veiled attendant steps forward without a sound. She gestures to Marius. He hesitates, looks back at you, then follows. They disappear down a side corridor as she takes him to the Second Grand War Exposition. You're left alone with Cartagena. She turns and begins walking. You follow. The corridors stretch on, massive hallways made of pure marble. A turn opens into a beautiful garden. Another into a gallery. Then a wide opening leading into a series of elite-level restaurants, all fully empty. Let me be honest, Mr. In Darkness, we are aware of how we are perceived. A bank, a mere lender, a convenient and opportunistic source of capital. That is a childish distortion of the truth. Do you know where the name Midas comes from? The humans were imaginative, full of stories and rich legends. One of them spoke of a king, a man with a single gift. Everything he touched turned to gold. Impressive, isn't it? The Midas Consortium is not so different. Everything we touch becomes gold. But we do not commit this mistake of believing this gold extends only to our riches and fortune. No. Midas is a cultural foundation, a pillar of progress, arts, and science. We profit, yes, but we also try to give back to our share of the galaxy. Art, history, even endangered species. Did you know that in Babel we have 101 different zoos dedicated to protect animal species under the risk of extinction? She continues walking steady. And as you can see, we love art. We support talent where it appears. We are champions of beauty. We have passion for it. When people look at Babel, we want them to see the profit that is not our main mission. Our ultimate goal is to carry the spirit of the galaxy forward into a better tomorrow. I can see that's actually impressive. It sounds like a whole corporate narrative. You do a great job of keeping art exclusive to those who truly appreciate culture must be protected like a treasure. Opulence. Yeah. Exactly. Value, beauty, they are rare things. These are rare things. Only those with a noble spirit know how to recognize them. We do plan to one day share the wonders of Babel with the rest of the galaxy. But as for now, our curation shall remain exclusive. She leads you into a small room. The space narrows. The marble gives way to a more brutalist tone. Controlled light follows over a series of paintings, sculpted pieces, and selected displays. At the far end, a set of old recording units, all perfectly preserved. Now let me show you a small part of our collection. My father, Enoch, has always held a particular interest in humanity. The first empire this galaxy ever saw. So distant a time that feels more fantasy and myth than history. She moves past the painting. They were gone far before we even started to dream of reaching the stars. But they left traces. Fragments of their way of life. We believe they spent their entire lives looking for life beyond their own. They were simply too early. By the time Earth began to expand into space, many of the species that now define the galaxy had not yet even formed in an evolutionary level. By the time they were gone, most of us were still shaping stone. Is it not tragic? A lifetime of discovery and ambition with no one to share? Solitude. Pure solitude. How did they go extinct? Let's see some of the human works of art. Why is your family so upset? How did they go extinct? We don't know. We have some fragments and theories. But for example, we found some human ships beyond the galaxy. All of them damaged. Signs of conflict. But more curiously, their origin point, their original solar system, is gone. It no longer exists. It is not even destroyed, but fully missing. We own the region where it should be. There is nothing there. No debris. No remnants. It is as if something snatched it away. In all the rest of the galaxy, no biological trace has ever been found. 0 fossils, not on any planet, not in any ruin. It is as if they disappeared. All at once. Let's see some of the human works of art. I believe you'll find them engaging. Step closer to the first piece. Hey, I know that painting. A lone figure stands on a rocky cliff, back turned. Below him, a sea of fog stretches endlessly, swallowing the landscape. Peaks emerge through the mist like distant islands. The figure is still elevated, as if he climbed to this point for a reason. The image evokes a sense that something lies beyond what can be seen. This one is my personal favorite. It captures ambition, desire to rise above. My father often says he sees something particular in humans, a fixation on greatness. We have no record of the artist, or when it was created. It feels very much like the altar in spirit. I love it. I feel nothing ambition without purpose. Yeah, well, it feels very much like the altar in spirit. I love this. She moves you on to another painting. That is, I'm pretty sure, the Divine Comedy Hell. Figures fill the scene, layered, almost suffocating. Distorted bodies, expressions frozen in fear or reverence. Something larger dominates the composition, pulling everything toward it. There is structure to it, but feels unstable, like a vision of a nightmare. This one is different. You can find details in every corner. Chaotic, but so beautiful. I think it is perfect to showcase the creative side of humans. First, it was believed to represent an actual event of crisis, something the humans experienced. That is no longer the accepted view. It is symbolic, religious. The Church of the Redeemer made several attempts to acquire it. We declined, of course. Why is your family so obsessed with humans? We are interested in history. A short pause. The older it is, the more valuable it becomes. Humanity belongs to a time that no longer exists, a period of myth, an uncharted galaxy. Of course, we still have an interest in what lies beyond our galaxy. That has not changed. She gestures lightly around the room. But this is origin. It shaped our galaxy. I firmly believe that somehow it has also shaped everything that followed. A shared history, you could say. And there is something in this. A civilization that vanishes without a trace. Overnight, she looks at you. Is that not worth studying? Alright, that's enough. Let's continue the negotiations. Carthage stops. She doesn't move for a moment. Then you notice her mechanical hand slightly raised, a mini computer resting on her palm. She reads something. I apologize, Mr. In Darkness. I need a few minutes. It is my father. He is calling me. This requires my attention. Please remain here. Do not leave the room. Without another word, she steps out. The door closes behind her. You're alone. Oh, goodness. Difficulty 15. Okay. Cool, I failed. What? Oh, okay, something's wrong, but you can sure we missed something. I'm sorry for that. It was an urgent matter. Let us proceed to the proper negotiations. She leads you into a wide dome. The space opens all at once. Trees, dense and alive. Real soil. Real air. Above, a glass ceiling curves over the entire structure. Beyond it, stars, open space, silence. The green stands against the void. He is peculiar. A short pause. I value this form, this vessel made of metal. It provides me with so much. And yet, I miss certain things. I miss the feeling of grass under my feet. I miss the wind blowing against my skin. A faint shift in tone. It sounds childish, correct? Guess it is an eternal fight between my soul and my mind. A fight which I cannot escape despite my heart of metal. She walks a few steps ahead. When I still had a body like yours, I loved to spend time in forests like this. It was always so peaceful. In nature, my soul can always find such clarity. Decisions always become easier. The same can be said to conversations. She turns slightly, which is why we will speak here. Brief pause. She looks toward the trees. This dome houses a few experiments. My father has taken an interest in reconstructing species once native to Earth, the origin point of humanity. Some of them are delicate to reproduce. A flash of color cuts across the air. A bird lands on her shoulder. Its body is sleek, feathers dark and glossy. The chest carries a soft, warm tone, but the beak, large, curved, bright, almost unreal. A bold shape too vivid for the rest of its form. It stays still, watching. Beautiful, isn't it? Footsteps approach. The bird flies away. Is that a toucan? Mary enters the dome, guided by a veiled attendant. That was impressive. I didn't expect something like that. Your collection is vast, Lady Carthage. I am pleased to hear that, my dear. We value sharing these pieces, with those capable of appreciating them, of course. Now, are we ready to initiate our proper talks? Oh, excuse me. Oh, goodness. Marius, do not be so impressed. She's trying to manipulate you. Actually, I still am curious. I've heard a lot about post-organics, but I've never seen one before. Yeah, Midas seems much more than a mere bank to me. That is a fair observation. Midas is a financial institution, but it is not limited to that. We operate through a network of subsidiaries, companies we acquired across the centuries, many of them in the field of genetics and medicine. Short pause. My father had always had an interest in biology. He was a researcher and scientist a long time ago. His work continues through multiple levels of our company now. Actually, I still am curious. Okay. I am still curious. I've heard a lot about past post-organics, but I've never seen one before. It is an interesting subject. Short pause. Across history, many have sought to extend their lives. It is a natural desire. And over, different people have tried it. They all failed, of course. Do you know why, Mr. President? Every time they got into the same problem. It is easy to change a heart from one body to another. Think of it, a brain swapped into another head, not so complicated. But they all missed something very important. Something that required specific solutions. Those solutions were developed by companies now in Midas, and now they are protected by patent law. She looks at you. At present, we are the only institution capable of offering true longevity. You will hear many speak of it, but no one other than us will ever reach it. Extending life by decades, even centuries, is accessible to many. But permanence, to be truly eternal, slight pause, that is rare. I will be direct, Mr. In Darkness. To grant such a state is to assume a certain role, the role of a god. And to do so, one must be deliberate, which is why very few are chosen. I am one of them. Cool. I am ready. Let's talk business. Why did you call me here? After the end of the Fourth Grand War, many claimed Altara was ruined, fated, and doomed to never return from the ashes. Once an empire, now reduced to a single and broken world. Most of my colleagues lost interest in your market. They see it as a playground for the Interstellar Pact. Picture it. One small economy, one planet in complete disarray. Ah, crap. I do not share that view. I tend to look ahead, toward the future. And so does my family. I see the future clearly, Mr. President, and the future resides in the past. Let me share a story with you. 351 years ago, I visited Altara Prime with my father. The Empire was at its height, a true golden age. Culture, wealth, stability. My father told me something back then. He told me Altara is the heart of the galaxy. If you want a prosperous galaxy, you need a prosperous Altara. Heart of the galaxy. We're talking about an isolationist empire that spies its neighbors. Please don't dress it up to get to the point. My goal is to bring that prosperity back to Altara, perhaps, but what you gain from... Yeah, my goal is to bring the prosperity back to Altara. Noble goal. And that is where my office comes in. You need investment. A push. Just enough to let your economy move again. And you need this push to come from a neutral partner. Not tied to the pact, not tied to any block. This is what we offer. That is Midas, Mr. In Darkness. We extend a hand. We've also followed the situation with Planex. What the pack imposed afterward. The fee was excessive, we know it. Your budget absorbed it. Surely you felt it. It would be reasonable to consider assistance. We can provide you with the capital. We are talking here about credit on competitive terms. You only need to agree, and we will move to assist you. Was your opinion, Marius? What is the exact position regarding the Interstellar Pact, Lady Carthage? What about interest rates? What's your opinion, Marius? There's no immediate risk. From what I understand, we will not be taking any loans today. Carthage is trying to convince us to accept their banking system as possible clients. It's merely a new door being opened. It means in the future we'll be able to take capital from Midas, nothing more. We need to think beyond that. In the future, if we let too much Midas capital in, we risk dependency, and that's not an easy thing to undo. Alright, I'm going to open negotiating with... Yeah, let's establish a relationship. Very well. I am pleased to hear that. There is something you should know. Altara still carries an outstanding debt with Midas, dating back to the Empire. We extended extensive loans during the final 2 years of the Fourth Grand War. Billions of capital. We were considering parting that debt. However, the nationalization of Pay-Links has raised concerns. We are no longer certain we can fully trust Altara. We require a demonstration of commitment. That your administration respects agreements and the principles of the free market. You will need to repay your debt before any further credit is extended. All details will be available on your terminal, Mr. Darkness. Oh, cool. It will come with the next update. Cool. Now you might leave Babel. Now you might leave Babel. It was a pleasure to have you as guest today. We are currently receiving 2 other guests. Please do not mind their presence on the way out. They are here to conduct business with my father. I believe this was the right call, Mr. President. We now have the option of getting loans with Midas that can be useful in times of need. As you walk through the empty corridors of Babel, heading back to your ship, you hear steps echo from a corner. You turn. Niran is already there. Oh, goody. He's smiling before your eyes even meet. Well, this is unexpected. Such a big galaxy, and we end up meeting by chance? Come on, what are the odds? A soft chuckle. But I'll take it. It is a pleasant surprise. I suppose it was only a matter of time for you to come here. President of Altara invited to Babel. How grandiose. I am sure the past emperors walked through these halls. You see, Enoch does enjoy having interesting guests. Regarding Planix, I've been following your situation. Christopher's decision, that was quite the fee. Stingy. Even I thought it was quite excessive. He shrugs slightly. But actions tend to have consequences, don't they? I did warn you, as a friend. A small smile. Still, no hard feelings. Between us, it's all water under the bridge. What are you doing here? Nero was surprised. I was actually hoping to see you again. Spreading. What a surprise. I was actually hoping to see you again. Where are you? Good. I'd say the feeling is mutual. We have things to talk about. Now, there's someone I'd like you to meet. In darkness, the core or something moves. Not walking, floating. What the? It's a pyramid man. What? It's a pyramid man. What do you mean? It's okay. That's not influenced by anything. That's an interesting character. Okay. Geometric shape emerges into the light, perfect edges, metallic surface. A pyramid suspended in there. First time someone saw a creature in Star Wars. At center, 2 organic eyes stare out live, watching. Small, perfectly placed hat rests on top. How do you balance it? You're a triangle. Is it fit to be on a triangle, or is it like a circle on the inside? A bow tie sits at the base. It says nothing. Mr. Trias Child. Triangle Child. Okay. Owner of the Trias Child Data Consortium. Oh crap, I have to write that down. Trias Child Data Consortium. That's too big. Okay. Trias Child Data Consortium. Who? Why? What? What are we doing here? Cool. Anyways. Where is it? What? Wait a second. He's the little decal that you see at the bottom of the thing when the game is running. I always wondered what that was, but it was too small to see. He's the little icon for when the game is running at the bottom of the Windows bar. Crazy. Owner of the Trias Child Data Consortium. Trias Child does not move. I wouldn't expect him to. Those eyes stay locked on you. Stop looking at me. Unblinking. Soon enough, the 4 of us will sit down together. New terms, new structures, fees, prices. A grin. Just like we did with Savante. Isn't that exciting? I expect our negotiations to conclude more productively than they did with Savante in Darkness. Slight pause. Unlike that senile relic, I am fully aware of what I am doing. Do not try to... Is that clear? What? Triangle with the... Please careful with your mouth, Mr. Trias Child. Oh, and before I forget, Niren leans in slightly. There's something I wanted to tell you. You have an FTL corridor in your system, right? Ships moving through it every single day, non-stop. Smiles wired. Do you have any idea how much money that is? Let me give you a tip. Hey, lot. What? That's a lot of money. Really? Now I've been hearing things. Rumors. A workers' strike right at the FTL portal. Not good, right? That hits packed companies. It hits you. Hell, it hits everyone. The entire galaxy, gentlemen. No, that's not accurate. We have no indication of any strike. Oh, Marius. A soft laugh. My dear Marius. I think I might know a bit more than you here. I always have the best sources. A small pause. So trust me, it's coming. Weeks, months. It does not matter. It is coming. Niren turns to you. So here's what I want your big man to do. Mr. President, a grin. When it happens, you shut it down. Talk to them, give them something here, something there, but don't let it grow, because they will push. They will ask you for nationalization of the portal. Can you believe it? He leans in just a bit. You don't give them that. You could always remove the problem, use a little bit of violence. He holds your eyes, then breaks into a laugh. Relax, relax, I'm kidding. Look, just trust me on this one, alright? When the time comes, you handle it. You'll be doing me a favor, and hey, maybe you can make up for that little situation with Planix, yeah? Do this for me, and I make your life easier. A small smile, much easier. You might even join us. I've got a little circle. Like-minded people. Smart people. We could do a lot for you. For Altara. Norman, walk away. You should tell more people about this group. I'll handle it. Yeah. Now that is music to my ears, Mr. President. A wide smile. Bravo! Truly. How else are we going to find out for the journalist lady? Claps once lightly. I like that. I really do. He steps back. Now, gentlemen, I have to run. We're already late to see Enoch. Have a wonderful day. You and Marius keep walking your way back through Babel's silent corridors. The docking bay opens ahead. Your ship waits with the guards. If what he said is true, we have a problem coming. The ship is back. It's quiet. Your mind is pensive on all problems stacking up. You return to Altara and finally get some rest, knowing the week ahead won't be easy. Minus 11 budget. That's not good. Okay, what does this cost? Minus 1 influence per turn. Can I take that? Plus 2 stability. Plus 2 stability per turn? That's amazing. I hate that it's communist, but it's amazing because I get... That's pretty good. Plus 5 stability. 3 influence, 2 budget. I don't have budget. What is this? Psychoactive synthesis charter. Unlocks colonial drug production. Shut up. Okay, foreign ownership cap. Alright, that does it. Alright, economy. Markets. Okay, yes, enter the market. I need to sell. Oh, well, I'm selling too much. Oops. Nanite pays. Neural chips, why not? Oh, I can't sell. I can't buy neural chips. And let's, yeah, nanite, okay, I can. Well, I just got rid of a bunch of what I lost in budget. Yep. That's basically okay, now I'll be positive next turn. That's very good. That market is gambling, but I like it because it's money for me. You always win at gambling. Obviously. Right, next turn. Oh, thank goodness. We're back. We're money positive people. Your eyes open. Oh, we're in the dream again. Just like the Call Empire thing that happened. This is just like what happened the Second Galactic War. You find yourself once again at the same hellish place. Once again, the same figure appears out of thin air. Be not afraid, child. It's only an angel. The voice sounds like melting honey dancing around your ears. It is calm, deep, but swift at the same time. Once again, the creature returns to an incomprehensible dialect. For 1 second, you could understand it perfectly, but now it is gone. Out of thin air, the creature disappears. You are left alone. You still do not understand where you are. This is a nightmare or something worse. Perhaps you've gone mad. Oh, Huda! Whomst? Another strange creature appears in front of you. Be not afraid, for you've been chosen by Amel. Who? Well, that's going on the... I'm sorry, give me a second. I need to write that down in the religion thing. Where... Okay. Who... Amel? Who Amel? Oh, make sure I leave that with a question mark, so I don't just have something that says who Amel is. Like, who... Sorry, who is Amel? That's going to be completely incomprehensible if I don't write that properly. Who Amel? That just got me for... I was like, who? To carry its flag into the void to usher the universe toward his coming. An Amel will bring prosperity to you and your land, and his blessings will keep flowing down so that each generation of your bloodline receives rivers of honey and gold. He tried talking to you, but as it seems your mind cannot understand his magnificency, so he sent his prophet, his humble soul. Oh, so this is definitely from the Second Grand War. Now you probably have many quests. Suddenly you're not in the hellish landscape anymore. You look around and you are floating in space. You are aware that this is just a nightmare, but yet you feel something moving in the darkness. You see a planet, a lonely planet far away. It feels alive. Is that Saturn? It's looking right at you. Then, despite the vacuum of space, you start hearing something. Screams. 1,000 screams. No, not 1,000. Far more than that. All coming from that planet. It's sick, twisted. You want to puke. You want to run. You want to cover your eyes and ears. You have no idea what is that place. You have no idea what's happening there, but you know that it is unholy. The figure once again appears. It is too soon for that. Your mind is wandering. Your heart is lost. Perhaps it was a mistake to contact you so soon. Your mind is not yet prepared. Our connection is fading. Time works against us, as always. Ask me one question, I'll answer you with my whole heart. Who is Amel? Who are you? What do you want with me? What is this place? Begone, creature! Who is Amel? Who are you? What do you want with me? What is this planet? One question. Oh, I'll find out who Amel is later. What is the planet? Now that is a hard question. You should not have seen this place. Not yet. It is his prison, yes, but also his punishment for those who cast him out. The betrayers, the ones who begged him to show them the stars, yet took everything from him. Listen, your heart can almost hear them. How they cry, how they beg. They will suffer as long as he is imprisoned. That has always been the glorious arrangement, but Amel is kind. Even in his wrath there is love. When he is free, he will give them a merciful death, not eternal punishment. It's time to wake up, but I will be seeing you. What the heck did I just see? You wake at your room sweating and anxious. You're not going mad. There's something much larger happening there. And then somehow you are now a part of it. You look at your side and Aurelia is still sleeping. The next day you were called by Vicario and Cira. They want a private meeting regarding the rescue mission. You enter the office. Vicario is agitated while Ciro watches him from across the room. You made a mistake, sir. A horrible mistake. This entire rescue mission. I apologize, but it is a disaster. Mr. President, our men completed the mission. I can inform you the target has been retrieved. No. Respectfully, you both must hear me. This was a mistake from the beginning. We need to send him back. Send who back? Person we retrieved. Let us say a difficult individual, Mr. President. Difficult? He is a genocidal maniac. Our men follow the signals with exact coordinates. A small moon outside the limits of the known galaxy orbiting a gas planet. On that moon, they found a military base, an imperial base, and inside a single man, an individual claiming to be Dr. Ulysses Hasius, head of the Imperial Science Direct, as in the guy who did the eugenics bit? Oh, no. Presumed dead during the last days of the Fourth Grand War. He was dead! His body was destroyed. It was all in official reports. Our medical team ran a genome review. He matches his DNA. It is him. He's in our custody right now. No one outside the soldiers on the mission knows he is alive. Dr. Hazius has to ask to speak with you, Mr. President. Sir, that man is a demon! He has no loyalty to anyone other than himself and his work. He will talk. He will make promises. He will be very persuasive. And I am asking you, forgive me for interrupting Vicario. I also want to voice my opinion here. It is clear you have some personal history with this man, and I understand that. But Hazius is a genius. I believe your words, but he can be useful to Ardora. He knows things we do not. Imperial secrets, scientific records that could be of real use to us. Even forbidden science. Zero! You do not know that man. Trust me on that. Vicario, why exactly is it? Back in the Imperial days, we had a circle of advisors around the Emperor. Most of them were power-hungry, yes. But many were supremacists, men who wanted Altara to raise everything in its path. Others, like myself, believed in a more stable path. An end to senseless expansionism. Generally, every single person around the Emperor, despite their morals, believed in something greater than themselves. Ideals. Ulysses believed in nothing other than his obsession with science and death. He wanted to discover the unknown, to get all the answers to all the questions in the universe, to close the gap between science and perhaps the supernatural. And in that pursuit, he recognized no limits whatsoever. Before the war even started, he was already using every port of skirmish as an opportunity. Foreign prisoners went straight to his facilities. When the war began, he simply had more material to work with. Altara invades the planet, a new laboratory. A difficult enemy position, he would craft something so vile it violated every existing law of war. And I am not naive. I understand war, but you never saw him, sir. You never saw how much he enjoyed it. How much he loved it. Yovins, other species all being tortured in his basement. And he kept accumulating power, because for all the evil he caused, his inventions worked. By the end, the Emperor listened to no one other than him. I knew this man personally. Outside of his intelligence, I do not have a single good thing to tell you about him. Sir, what do you mean by forbidden science? It is mostly a rumor, but it is not a rumor. I know what you are about to say, and it is true. Yes. The Empire were searching for new technologies, trying to develop devastating weapons. At the same time, they were attempting to make contact with species outside our galaxy, looking for things in the darkness of the Outer Rim that someone considered only myth. Sir, we've confirmed intelligence telling us the Empire developed schematics for weapons of mass destruction. Those schematics are somewhere out there. We could use them, at least as a protective measure. What kind of Imperial secrets could he actually know? As you know, I served as a close advisor to Emperor Sivos. But as the Fourth Grand War went on, the Emperor stopped listening to me. Hazius managed to fill that space. His weapons worked. His inventions worked. And then that was more than enough for the Emperor. Hazius spent considerable time outside our galaxy in the Outer Rim. It's very possible he has detailed knowledge of Imperial facilities out there. But more than that, he might know what actually lies beyond the limits of the known galaxy. How exactly did Ulysses Hazius die? What is the official... He's gonna be like a zombie or something, isn't he? He was at a hidden research facility in the Outer Rim near the end of the Fourth Grand War. The Pact located it and destroyed the place. No ships escaped. No survivors were recorded. He died there. Alright, let's go meet him. I'm thinking we give him to the Pact, and then everybody stops being at my throat. And stability goes up. Oh, that's right, my stability automatically goes up. I don't even need you to make my stability go up. That's amazing. A small transport carries Vicario and Zero half north. The trip is short, taking less than an hour and a half. Below the capital gives way to open water, then ice. The small domestic transport lands on an isolated island. From there, you begin descending to an underground complex. Oh, that's spooky. The Empire used this place for political enemies. People the Emperor wanted to disappear without any official record. Most Imperial prisons were located outside the capital planet, but this one was different. Very few people knew it existed. The Pact has no record of this site. That is why we brought Hazius here, while we decide what to do. Sir, one thing before we go in. Our men reported that Hazius has changed considerably. He's a zombie. He no longer looks like an Altaran. I wanted you to know beforehand. You enter the cell. Brain sits exposed in a glass casing mounted on a mechanical frame. Two red eyes stare back at you from beneath it. Nervous tissue trails down on the machinery below. That is not what he expected. Wow! That's worse than a zombie. Dang, bro. Good evening, gentlemen! Good evening, gentlemen. His red eyes move to Zero first. Large. Strong. Wearing a nice uniform. Military background, I guess. Anyways, you not look very interested. He moves on immediately. And you! His brain tilts slightly inside the casing as he looks at you. You must be the famous Mr. in Darkness I heard the soldiers talking about. Am I correct? He does not wait for an answer. His gaze goes straight to Vicario. And you! Wait. Pause. No, surely not. Vicario? Hello, old friend. Still alive? Bravo! Genuinely bravo! I was not certain which one of us would outlast the other. Congratulations to both of us, I suppose. It's a tie. His eyes dropped briefly to the cane, with a vacant, scarred gaze. Although I would argue I am in considerably better shape than you. Shut up, all things considered. How did you survive? You should be dead. Well, I wish you could take a proper look at me, old friend. There's not much left. In a certain sense, perhaps I did die in that explosion, but I'm not here to entertain you. His robotic finger extends slowly, pointing at you. The movement is uneven, mechanical. I'm here to speak with him. Actually, I'm sorry. This is kind of embarrassing. But what even happened to Altara? Ever since I came back, I've been kept completely in the dark. Would you do me the courtesy of probably explaining to me what the heck is going on here? Packed when the Empire is gone, I am the new boss now. Altara fell, but it will rebuild strong before. The Age of Horus is over. Ulysses, you and your friends lost. Our enemies won for now. Altara will have the Empire is gone, I am the new boss now. I like the confidence, but from what I understand, you are president, not a king. Certainly not an emperor. Yes? So? From what I understand, the Pact has taken over. They arranged a small democratic government to keep things tidy. You were the pet on the leash. Now I've just met you. Perhaps you have a rebellious spirit. Perhaps you have grand ambitions. But right now, you are still just a pet. Let me ask you something. Are you satisfied with that? I'm not a pet. I'm a man who will bring stability and peace to this planet. Democracy, new era. That's my duty. No, I have an opportunity that comes once in a lifetime. I'm going to seize it and shape Altara on my own vision. No, I plan to ignite a revolution, guide the workers in new era, 6-year ship of the proletariat. I'm going to reignite the pride of the Altaran people, a strong state guiding our nation to a glorious future. We rise with no fear, for there is no one to limit our courage. It's better to live one day as a warrior than 100 years as a slave. I'm not answering that. I'm going to reignite the pride of the Altaran people. Good! Very good! Let me make something very clear to you. 15 years ago, I was arguably the most intelligent being in the galaxy, but now, I'm at my peak. I have spent 15 years alone with nothing but my own brain and a great deal of time. I've been productive. After the explosion, I began running experiments on myself. My memory is a supercomputer at this point. Crap. I have new skills, whatever. I can offer you my skills for whatever you need. You want war? I will give you weapons of mass destruction this galaxy has never seen. You want a god machine? I know the path. In fact, I have walked parts of it already. I know what the Empire left behind. Facilities, schematics, secrets sitting out there in the dark. Wait, am I gonna... Oh, I have to Stellar... Am I gonna Stellar this? I already agreed to the freaking religious zealot that would make the god machine. But I don't really want to do the whole insanity bit. Alright, you hit the jackpot, my friend. Right here in the cell. You can execute me. You can keep me here. Sure, yes, those are options, but you would be wasting time, something extraordinary, and I suspect you know that already. You step out of the cell, the corridor is cold and poorly lit. I think you should consider his proposal, sir. If we can get our hands on a weapon of mass destruction, that changes everything. It will guarantee our sovereignty. And there is something else. Priest Horatius offered you information on the construction of a god machine, but only if you adopted the doctrine as the official state religion. If we put Ulysses to work, we could pursue that without making any compromises with the church. Zero does not know what he's talking about, sir. We should not be considering that man's offer at all. The mere fact that we are standing here discussing it means he is already winning. Do you want my honest opinion? Kill him! Silence. Are you serious? Yes! It is time to make hard decisions. No one outside these soldiers knows Ulysses is alive. We can end this right here, right now. But what about a legal process? That man is a monster. There should be no legal process for him, and no one is watching, sure. Whatever we decide here, we will not leave these walls. I still do not understand why you hate him so much, Vicario. Why wouldn't I? I have never met a person with such a complete disdain for life. But it is not only that. I would be lying if I said this is purely about the foreigners he killed. The experiments, all of that. There was a moment during the war when surrender was possible. The Empire was bleeding, everyone in the circle knew it. Surrendering was horrible, yes, but at one point it was the only logical way out. There would have been consequences, but not what happened. Not billions dead in Altheus. Not our entire way of life gone. But Ulysses went to the Emperor and he closed that door. He convinced him that war could still be won. And the Emperor, by that point, trusted no one else. So he kept fighting. Everything that happened can be traced back to him. I hate that man. I hate him with every bone in my body. And he did not suffer. He did not lose his son or his friends. He does not care about Altara and its people. Because he is already completely empty. Devoid of anything. Zero goes silent. What if we handed him back to the Pact? That would be a catastrophic decision, sir. I must agree with Zero. We would gain something, yes. Perhaps we could even make a deal to secure our sovereignty. A deal where the Pact agrees to stay out of internal affairs in exchange for him. But consider what we would be doing. 15 years ago when the Pact struck that facility, I do not believe they were trying to kill him. His mind is too valuable. He would work for them without hesitation as long as they fund his projects. We would be handing the Pact a weapon. He would just keep doing exactly what he has always done. Only now every result would go to the Interstellar Pact. And that is before we even consider what Imperial secrets we would give them. You could hold him here and make that decision later, but ask yourself whether it is truly worth it. How exactly did you survive? Are there other Imperial remnants out there? What exactly are you offering? Are there other Imperial remnants out there? Now that is not a question, Mr. President. I could give you an answer, in time. How exactly did you survive? I had a grand project in the Outer Rim. It required my attention. I had 10 hours before the Pact forces breached the facility, so I called my scientists together and gave them very specific instructions. They removed my brain, placed it in a primitive robotic housing, sealed inside a pod small enough that no radar would pick it up, and launched it before the strike hit. The facility was destroyed. My body died with it. The pod landed on a planet below, and I spent 3 years there with almost nothing. Whatever the pod carried, whatever I could build from scratch, there were ruins on that planet. Old ones. Nothing in any Imperial record. I studied them, used what I could find. Eventually built something capable of getting off the surface. Found an abandoned Imperial base, sent the signal, and here we are. What exactly are you offering? Simple. You give me a lab and a small team, and I go back to work. I serve you. No questions asked. If you want a god machine, I will build you one. If you want the Imperial weapons of mass destruction, I will tell you exactly where to find the schematics. Everything I know. Everything I can do. It's yours. Alright, I have to make a decision now. Oh, I already have, like, 2 separate things for, like... Oh, I already have 2 things set up for, like, super weapons, so it would be weird if I got another one. And Vicario would be so mad at me. But I want more super weapons. I want more super weapons. That's so greedy. That's so greedy of me. I want more super weapons, but it's so greedy. It's such a bad idea. I want more super weapons. More super weapons. That's stupid. Now that is the right decision. I knew I like you. Kari says nothing for a moment. You can see his expression of disgust. I will follow your lead, sir, as I always have. But know that trusting this man is a mistake. Yeah, I'm sure. This is a good thing, Mr. President. We will turn this facility into a secret lab. Maximum security. You shall also place guards and security measures so nothing goes wrong. Ulysses will repay his debt by serving Altara properly this time. The door has been opened, you are aware of that. You can control the beast, tame it, force it to follow your own rules, to study science inside the boundaries of decency. Or you can feed it, make it worse than ever before. Research, tame, and explore the forbidden paths of science. Bend reality to serve the interests of Altara. It is all your choice now. After all, the most intelligent man in the entire galaxy works for you now. You leave the underground complex along with Vicario and Ciro. That was probably a bad choice. But it's fun. We're not here to win the game anyways. We're not here to do anything important. Board your transport, initiating your trip back to the capital district. Vicario remains in silence for the entirety of your trip. Oh, I have money now. Budget 1. Well, I guess I don't really have money. Space exploration. Launch expedition. Insufficient funds. Budget 2. Alright, economy. No, not codex. Active dossiers. Faith of Altara. Oh yeah, the religion bit. Day of Hope. Altara for sale. Krister's authority. Concluded situation of reconstruction form. Codex data. Altaran seats. The AUP has enough. Economy. Oh, that's right, economy. Not data. Crap. Industries. There we go. How do I build trade? How do I build these? Build the factory first, facility, input actions. Alloy foundry. Build this factory first. Rations 4. Does that mean I have to have 4 rations to make it, or... Oh, I need 3 thing to make it, that's why. Plus 6 per generated per turn. Okay, so I can... I'll build a thing with the coolant. Alright, I'll export all my energy because I'm not using it. Remember, kids, always export all your energy if you're not using it. Alright, so... Okay, so economy. Well, that's not what I need. Okay. Military. Garrison? Sentinel. Okay, yeah, that's just what I have on defensive. Okay, this doctrine isn't ready yet. Construct new units. I don't have things to construct things. I need refined metal to construct things, okay. Purchase new units. I have no I have no energy, cool. I don't sell all your energy because apparently you need it to make EMP pulse batteries. Defensive power plus 14. Amazing. Purchase new units next session. Combat drone squad. Okay, that's just what I can. What the? Oh. No, skip. Just skip. I'm not. Okay, just next session then. Exile mandate. What? Budget, void cells, dark matter reactor, energy is 20, budget 25. 25. Special story interactions. The structure destabilizes the space around the system star and forces everything bound to it into a single rupture point. Find a lost schematics first. Okay, exile. Okay, that's the exile mandate. Altaran plague. Altaran plague. Dread. Good night. The Black Rain. Orbital center of divine planet plus the atmosphere highly radioactive. Okay. Dread plus 30, offensive power plus 100. No, if what? Okay, Dread plus 30, military power plus 175 to offensive power special story interactions. Some spooky stuff, boys. Okay, return. Can we? Okay, well, can we purchase new units? Space Fleet Forces. Okay, so I use 32 budget. Defensive Forces, Patrol Ship. Good night. Offensive Forces. Fighter Squadron. Military capacity reached. Cringe. Space Frigate. -8, but it is only 500 trained soldiers, so I just need more capacity. Okay, so to train new units... Oh. Allied... No alliance form? Oh, I don't have any alliances formed. Pacifists do not... Okay. So if I go mess with the Montara Coalition, they'll give me stuff. Unlock domestic military logistics edict. Okay, interesting, interesting. Suspicion. Garrison. Okay, military structure. Construct new units. That's what I wanted to see. Military infrastructure. So, this treaties of transition prohibit Altara from expanding its military capacity. Okay, nonsense. Exile mandate. Okay, so we need budget to produce things as well. Interesting. Sometimes. So if we go to economy, data, industries. So if we make a smelter, we get refined metal. What do we need for... constructing units? Yeah, we need refined metal for that, refined metal for that, refined metal and thruster cores for that, space frigate, refined metal, dreadnought needs, refined metal, thruster cores, advanced plates. Okay, so we go to economy, industries, refined metal, thruster cores. Where's the thruster cores at? Okay, so thruster cores is tier 2. I think it's going to be the fuel converter. So I need 8 for that. Thruster cores and advanced plates. So I need alloy boundaries. No coolant in stock? Okay. Is that important? Alright, we're gonna go do space stuff if I want to. Forward space exploration time. Launch expedition, yes. Habitable exoplanet detected orbiting a stable yellow dose. Accessible from the discovery log for future expeditions. Discovery log. Access Terria. Launch an expedition. Scout team deployed to the surface under... Scout team deployed to the surface under standard observation protocol. Initial landing confirmed the planet's temperate northern environment. High humidity, no industrial presence detected. 3 tribal settlements identified within the survey status. Population estimate, several hundred per settlement. Evidence of fire use, tool construction, and organized burial practice. No written language detected. Biological samples collected remotely. Genetics analysis confirms near complete alignment with archival records of the ancient human species. The team conducted further survey of the surrounding terrain. Several large metallic structures were discovered partially... What is this Battlestar Galactica? Did we find them on Battlestar? Did we find the Battlestar Galactica? Did we find the Battlestar? Structures identified as colony-class vessels of pre-modern origin. Whole composition and design architecture. Current interstellar standards by an estimated 4 to 600. Internal access was not possible. External markings were partially legible. No registry match found in the current databases. Run another one. A second team has been deployed to the surface. Observe without contact, reveal presence, capture a subject for study, acquire a subject for full biological analysis. Reveal presence. Capture a subject for study, for full biological analysis for study. Reveal presence. Team revealed their position at the settlement edge. Immediate dispersal, several individuals remain at a distance, no aggression recorded. Contact classified as inconclusive, population now aware of external presence. Okay. So now I've wasted all my money instead of saving it. But we get 5! So it's not going to end that bad. Next day you go, oh, I'm supposed to... Altar for sale. I was supposed to look at the debt I have to the knuckleheads. No persons of interest. Historical events, cool. Let's quick save real quick. Alright, a new week is set to start. You find Vicario already waiting for you drinking from a cup of coffee. Good morning, I hope you managed to get some rest. I didn't. You negotiated with a fool. We have a busy week ahead, let me get through it. You will be visiting Districts 2 and 6 to hear proposals from Governor Ajit and Sisypho and Hope and Progress in the PFA, respectively. It will also be a good opportunity to discuss the upcoming congressional votes on the War Tribunal and the tax reforms. This is room to negotiate with both parties if you are willing. We received an invitation from the Coalition of Montara. Oh! They began as a commercial bloc, but now moving towards something more serious, becoming a proper military alliance. They are looking to expand their membership, and Altara is on the list. Following Altaran tradition, a meeting of this level requires your personal attendance. This means we will be traveling to Novara along with Madame Leia. And lastly, the Day of Hope is approaching. As you know, this event is an opportunity for the state to endorse an official religion, or choose not to, of course. In connection with that, the Holy Church of the Who cares about the Holy Church of the Gnostic Truth? Has requested a private meeting with you. They are arguably the largest religious institution in the galaxy. They have lost their political power, yes, but the current Archon is said to be a man with strong feelings about the Interstellar Pact. He may be looking for allies. Therefore, we will be traveling to the lowly planet of Parousia. It is worth hearing what he has to say. However, I also advise caution. The Gnostic Church has a deep history in the galaxy, and they have always opposed the doctrine in Altara itself. It is also worth remembering that you already promised Horatius that you would choose the doctrine as the official religion of Altara. You can still change your opinion, sir, surely, but remember that this will bring consequences. What can you tell me about Mantara? Is the Gnostic Church? With respect, sir, they have a history of trying to take power in everything they touch. Horatius, for all his faults, believes religion and the state should coexist, a symbiotic relationship. The Gnostic Church does not share that view. They may want to work with Altara, but they will never see themselves as equals to the state, always above it. Their theology is also peculiar. They built their entire faith on fragments of ancient human beliefs, which makes it very difficult to understand from the outside, and their highest ranks appear to have a serious interest in the cult. It is deeply confusing. I have also prepared a proper report on them, which I am going to present on our journey to Parousia. However, you can always consult the information displayed in your codex. How about the Coalition of Mantra? The name comes from the Mantara sector, where most of the members reside. A small block, nothing close to the powers we have dealt with at the Forum, but they are ambitious, and they appear genuinely concerned with the sovereignty of the members, at least on paper. However, I also carry some negative opinions about them. I can tell you more during our trip to Novara. And of course, the codex on your mini-computer has everything we have on them. Anything I know about... Okay, District 206. I've prepared a full detailed report for the trip, but both districts have deeper problems, ultra-nationalist groups, migration tensions. Public safety is only one among many other issues. Very well, let's begin. Alright, who do we go to first? Arjeed, Sisypho, Coalition of Mantara meeting, or the Holy Church of the Gnostic Truth? Oh, I guess I didn't get to choose. The ship, I pressed on something. Ship lifts from the capital in early morning, the city still quiet below. You are leaving Altara, the ship slowly approaching the FTL gate. The Coalition of the Okay, I did. I have never actually been to Mantara, can you believe it? I have not. Not much to see there. I am aware it is quite an underdeveloped region of the galaxy. The Empire used to possess some colonies there, but I am more interested in the sites of the First Grand War. You and your obsession with the past. Small smirk crosses Vicario's face, his blind eye settling on nothing in particular. It is quite charming to think about the past, Madame Leia. We should allow our minds to wander towards the heroes of bygone eras. They might yet inspire our future. Mantara was one of the first quadrants invaded by the Ruruk. Massive, living monoliths. Heroes uniting in a desperate race against a common enemy. If we went back thousands of years, how many heroic tales did that quadrant witness? How many tragedies, sacrifices, absurd battles fought by people who had no idea what they were fighting? It is a shame it is now a much poorer region. Yes. However, Mr. Vicario, I would prefer for the present not to be distracted by ancient battles, but rather focus on our current situation. Leia turns to you. Mr. President, this Mantara coalition, honestly, it may not be the best step for Altara. They simply have nothing to offer. They are not even a proper coalition, just a small alliance of 3 planets trying to expand by gathering more allies. Their core idea is romantic, noble even, perhaps. They want to create an independent bloc that can stand against the bigger powers of the galaxy. But that is a naive idea. There's not a single member inside the coalition with a military close to the throne of Zolstra, let alone the USS or the Interstellar Pact. They are simply centuries behind. Yes, what Leia says is true, but I believe we should still try to build good relationships with them. In our current position, Altara must learn how to practice multilateralism. So here's what we could do. Is if we go for the crazy Stellaris endings that we have the option to go for, we could just absorb them as like extra planets into our empire. Or if we could actually just do like a sane playthrough instead of going for all the crazy stuff. Regardless, let's talk with Mantara. They're probably nice. Ship approaches the FTL gate. Tell me about the Novaran government. Tell me about the Uruk in the First Grand War. Uruk in the First Grand War. The Uruks were the main force behind the First Grand War, sir. Tens of thousands of years ago, Mr. President. Before most of us even looked properly at our own moons. The Uruk arrived and began moving through the galaxy, planet by planet. No ships, can you believe it? They just materialized overnight on the surface of planets. Just imagine that. You wake up and a huge living monolith the size of a mountain has wiped out an entire city. Then it starts to slowly kill an entire planet. Those accounts were highly exaggerated, Mr. Vicario. Let's not forget we are talking about ancient history. A lot of it ends up being blended with mythology. Respectfully, I disagree, Madame Leia. What is remarkable is that the accounts left... You would really have loved to come with me on trip to the Midas Consortium. I'm really sad Vicario didn't come. He would have loved it. What is remarkable is that the accountants left behind from dozens of species that had never met each other are consistent. Same descriptions, same details. Alright, Novaran government. They call themselves an illiberal democracy, which if you ask me is an honest name for what they are. I must concede to Vicario. You have to understand the history to understand the place. Novaro has been destroyed twice, Mr. President. Nuclear holocaust by their own hands during separate inter-conflict events. Their surface is still radioactive. Their modern cities were constructed above the clouds. After the second time, they sat down and made a decision. Never again would they destroy themselves. They built a body of law they call civilizational measures, rules governing how different groups interact, how disputes are handled, what kinds of speech and conduct are permitted in public spaces. Extremely strict by any standard I've worked with. But you spend enough time there and you start to understand the logic. And the strange thing is, it works. Novara is one of the most diverse societies in the galaxy. In this part of the galaxy. Dozens of ethnicities, languages, traditions, all living together. Not always warmly, but it is functional. Then there's the presidency. Now this one took me some time to wrap my head around when I first encountered it. The president is elected by popular vote. But once he takes office, he serves for 250 years. He's gradually assimilated into a central machine connected to the systems of that run the planet. He gives up his body, his appearance, his ethnicity, everything that would make him belong to one group more than another. By then, he's a metal structure, and somewhere inside it is still a man. But it is important to explain it clearly. There is no AI superintelligence here. There's still this is all an organic man inside a metal vessel. I actually heard they bought this technology from the Midas. But the machinery does not give immortality. It uses a strong cap of 250 years. That is why they must conduct new elections. The organic mind will not survive more than 2.5 centuries inside the machinery. Our current president has 5 years left on his term. 245 years in that machine. I met him once early in my career. He was strange. Just very, very far away. Alright, close your eyes and rest while the ship goes through the FTL portal. In silence. Hum of the engine softens as the ship breaks through the upper atmosphere. You stir in your ship and the viewport fills with white. Oh, dang! So we just go through the FTL portal and we're there. An ocean of clouds stretches in every direction, pale and slow with nothing beneath them you would want to see. To the left, suspending on a single dark pillar, a city sealed inside a giant cocoon of metal and glass hangs above the ruin of its own world like something that refused to fall. And further out, half swallowed by the clouds, a black shape rises in the distance, enormous still. The dead body of an Aruk, a monument of a forgotten era. Its corpse still haunting the landscape of this planet. Can I use the Aruks as weapons? That's probably a bad idea. The harbor has been cleared. No civilians there. I seized an Aruk for the first time. Could I use this as a super weapon? It's like I already have three different super weapons on the way. Cause like the dreams seem to be related to the Second Grand War, in which the Call Emperor had dreams that sounded similar, and he built the super weapon at Oxaton, which is a bad idea. And then we got the religious zealot telling me to build a god machine, which is a bad idea. And now I got some crazy scientist guy telling me he'll build me random war crime machines, which is also a bad idea. And now I've just had my own bad idea of using an Aruk as a super weapon, which is probably the worst of the bunch. No civilians here. Every ship belongs to someone attending the same meeting. You step out onto the platform, and the air is cold and thin. The cloud is still visible beyond the harbor's edge. There are many of them. Kings, queens, prime ministers, presidents, all from planets you have read about but never visited. Species you recognize and some you do not. Small powers. How do you even kill that thing? Like, look at it. This is a giant block. Like, is it even alive in the sense of being alive? What is it made of? Flesh? Rock? What kind of place does the Altaran Empire left a mark on? They notice you. You were the first elected president of Altar, yes, but the Empire has a very long memory in this part of the galaxy. Not the kind people are fond of. Raise your head in pride. Perhaps coming words of that. Lower your head, try. Raise your head in pride. You refuse to show weakness. You're not ashamed of your heritage, not ashamed of your past. The looks get more intense. A heart-shaped creature moves through the harbor towards you. A crown sitting above its pulsing form, tentacles trailing beneath as it floats across the ground. Several delegates step aside without being asked. Vicario, we're going to go through a very uncomfortable situation here. What? Tamila. Oh. Who am I supposed to be when you turn towards the potion style and extend hand? You meet her with cold eyes and say nothing. Who? She's the Empress of Terusia. We committed mistakes over there. They used to be our rivals centuries ago. When the Empire properly rose, we showed no mercy to their worlds. They have been a minor power ever since the Third Grand War, but they were still caught in the crossfire of the Fourth. A great deal of collateral advantage. I hate sounding rude, but she is a... No, please. I know what you're going to say. Let us keep decorum. She is known for being quite explosive. This is what Madame Leia was trying to say. Altara, how the mighty... What the... That's the thing on the Steam page. How the mighty have fallen. How the mighty have fallen. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I did not expect to meet you here today. But I must admit this is scandalous. I am deeply disappointed to see the coalition of Matara has grown so desperate for allies that they are now extending invitations to genocidal maniacs. The delegates nearby have gone quiet, heads are turning. Are you not ashamed to be here? No. Do you not have the faintest idea of the crimes committed against not only my people, but dozens of the civilizations standing on this very planet today? I didn't do that, so no. I'm not. I boarded a ship and took some people's crap. I'm sorry, I didn't flamethrower your people. We are not here for the same. We are here for the same purpose as you. We seek peace. I understand the past, but do you? Well, yeah, correct. We have met a few times, I believe. It seems the decades have not been particularly kind. What a shame. I do not believe you understand at all, though. Altara raised my glorious empire, killed so many of my people. And now you wish to stand here smiling, trying to make friends with the same nations you once crushed beneath your boots. Please, Empress Samila. I understand there is a great deal of history between our peoples, but this is not the place for... Oh, and you. She turns slowly towards Vicario. The crowd around you has grown. No one is pretending not to watch anymore. Vicario! Yes, I remember you. It's been quite some time, hasn't it? Let me just see what you are carrying in there. Vicario goes still, and his hand tightens around his cane. A faint twitch moves through his jaw. Oh my, oh my, oh my. So you lost your sight during the siege. How tragic. But there's something else there, isn't there? Someone very important to you. Vicario. You have been holding this for decades, in that quiet little mind of yours all this time. This is too much. This is absolutely scandalous, Vicario. You will not invade the minds of my cabinet. What do you think you're doing here? You lower your voice almost gently. Do you think you are making a scene? Do you think making a scene here of you here, Tamila? Look around. Are you proud of yourself? Vicario, what is she talking about? What do you think you are doing? This is how a head of state is supposed to conduct herself. Yeah, you're supposed to act like an adult. Did you know that during the Third Grand War, Altarans used to dissect my people? They wanted to understand our capacities, our ability to communicate using our thoughts. Please, Mr. President, do not let me try to lecture you on morals. Your people do not possess the moral standing here. Do not try to lecture me on morals. Your people do not possess the moral standing here. Now you in darkness. Her eye settles on you fully for the first time. The first president of the Altaran Republic. We've heard so much about you about this bright new chapter in the history of your people. How moving. But we all know the truth, don't we? The realm with Altara doesn't live in the laws or governments. It lives in your soul. In the blood, genetics, perhaps. Evil lives in whatever it is that makes an Altaran an Altaran. Sooner or later, the moment you are given the chance to rise again, Altara will do exactly what Altara has always done. It will spill fire across the galaxy. I have no idea what possessed anyone to invite you here today, but I have not forgotten what your people did to Grand Terusha. I want you to know that. You smirk and turn away from Altara has the same right to be heard as any other civilization present came. If you came here to intimidate me, you have already failed. Yes. Intimidate you? Oh, no. No, Mr. President. I'm simply making my disgust known. I find it deeply offensive to share the same air as you, and I see no reason to pretend otherwise. A round robot makes his way through the crowd towards you, moves with an unhurried, almost gentle determination. Please, let us all be peaceful here, please. Your Highness, Queen Tamila, I want you to know everything. I want you to know something very important. It was me. I invited Altara to this convention. That decision was mine, yes, entirely mine, and I stand by it completely. As the 301st President in service of the Great Sovereign Republic of Anima, it is my sincere belief and... Oh! He's the Anima! Yo! I'm so excited. Because these are the Anima dudes. That Altara can be a crucial ally for our coalition. A very important one. And I would ask with great respect that you show some kindness to our guests. And are we not all, every single one of us, living creatures beneath the same cosmos? Does that not make us all deserving of kindness? How charming. But not every single being under the sky is deserving of kindness, no. Some sins cannot be forgotten. Now, my little robot, I cannot understand what movie to invite a genocidal state here today. You get a crescent sense that this one possesses no decorum, although you're not sure whether this comes from Tarusian culture or from her own personality. And you were not supposed to be one of the 3 main leaders of this little block. And you were supposed to be one of the 3 little leaders of this main block, of this little block. I must say, so far, I'm extremely disappointed with this conversation. This is not working in favor of me joining this little coalition. Well, I certainly hope that by the end of the day, Your Highness, we will have changed your mind. I really do. You see, one of the most interesting things about being alive is that at any moment we can change our previous misconceptions, embrace new ideas, and I am open to speaking with President Sadlar, and that is it. What truly disappoints me is that the coalition appears to have no standards whatsoever when it comes to who they invite through their doors. She takes another glance at you before going back to the crowd of delegates. What a curious, interesting figure, Queen Tamila. Truly, a remarkable character. You know, she could really fit into one of my movies. I mean that sincerely. And you! So glad you are here. So glad. But where are my manners? I am Theodore Lynch, the 301st President of the Great Sovereign Republic of Anima. I am so glad you accepted our invitation. You see, the way I look at things, it is time. Time for the small players to unite under the same banner. Together! I once had a dream. A beautiful dream, yes. I can share it with you. My dream consisted of many feelings, all of those that came to my mind as different colors, but the specific details are not important. What you must know is the essence of this dream, yes? An essence of union. Of peace. Like in the classic blockbuster hit Rise of Centurion 3. You know the scene, the 3rd act, when the good guys finally band together. Oh! He's a man of culture, I see. We watch his movies. Yes. Exactly like that. This is what I am talking about. Rise of Centurion. What are you talking about? You mentioned small players. Altar is not a small player. Please can you just be here. I'd like to thank you for the invitation. Rise of Centurion 3. What are you talking about? Oh, I must apologize. You're not familiar with the thriving cultural scene of Anima. They watch Anima movies, obviously. Of course you're not. I'm talking about a massive blockbuster. We sold over 25,787 tickets for that one. Yes. Released about 125 years ago. I was on the camera crew, actually. A very formative experience. A delicious and invigorating picture, I can tell you that. I could send you a copy. Out of the 49 films in the Rise of Centurion saga, it is perhaps my third favorite. My favorite one is the Rise of Centurion 9, of course. I was the main lead on that one. We just need to wait for the arrival of President Zatlar. You see, he was the one who first reached me and Mr. Brozanos to form the coalition. A great man indeed. While we wait, perhaps I could answer some of your questions. You mentioned working in the cinema industry. Did I hear that correctly? What does Anima actually gain from the coalition? Theodore Lynch. Quite a bit. Where does it come from? You mentioned working in the cinema industry. Yes, you did. Absolutely. I will tell you something. The finest cultural production in the galaxy is not coming from the Pact. It is not coming from Altara, with all due respect. It is coming from us. From home. I have acted in a few dozen pictures. Directed some others. Beautiful work. All of it. I do not want to brag, but I believe my charisma has been a considerable factor in being elected president 19 times. I think about that sometimes. We are overlooked. That is true. But it will change. Anima cinema will reach every corner of this galaxy. I know it. I feel it. Do you truly believe what is it? Can you believe we stand against the coalition? We are young, yes, but I am an optimist. I've always been an optimist. This is a bright future ahead of us. I can see it very clearly. Mr. Zatler will explain it better than I ever could. He is a genius. A real one. He has a plan. What does Anima actually gain from this coalition? Theodore Lynch, what does it come? Yeah, where does it come from? Oh, thank you for asking. I love that question. I chose it myself. It is a human name. Human. Can you imagine? When we built our state, we needed somewhere quiet, somewhere away from everything. We found a small moon. Barren planet nearby. Very peaceful. We made it home. And in that moon, we found human bases. Abandoned. Old. Inside, we found books. Films. Calendars. History. Just sitting there, waiting. Midas wanted to buy it all, naturally. We said no. Every time, offer after offer, we said no. We decided to adopt the few books and movies we found as part of our cultural foundation. So many of us took human names. It just felt like a logical decision. Even a little artistic, dare I say. Alright, thank you, Mr. Lynch. I have no further questions. Hangar doors open. Conversation start. A large pressurized tube rolls in, carrying on a levitating platform. Inside it, suspended in liquid, a massive organic form hangs motionless. President Zatlar has arrived. Boy, you are not looking fine. The uncanny organic mask you see is merely a fragment of something larger, a token of a presence rather than a body. Zatlar's true form is elsewhere, fused into computers and into the planetary systems of Novara. Welcome to Novara. I look around this room and I see republics, kingdoms, democracies, ideologies that have spent centuries disagreeing with each other. Some would call that a problem. I do not. I see a foundation to build something larger than ourselves. But this is not the place for that conversation. Please follow me. Let me first show you my planet and what my government has achieved. Oh, this is going to be murder on my throat. The city is clean. Genuinely remarkably clean. Inside the cocoon, you see multiple monorails connecting buildings, parks, and artificial forests. Coexisting with the monorails, levitating platforms move around the structure between different blocks. The streets flow well, and everything seems to be exactly where it's supposed to be. The cameras are harder to ignore once you start noticing them. They are on every corner, above every entrance, along every transit line. People beneath them, they have the flock cameras. They have the flock cameras. They have the flock cameras, people. This is a surveillance state. The people beneath them do not seem to notice or care. The population consists of dozens of different species and ethnicities. It's the surveillance state. I wish I could see it with my own eyes. That sounds are those monorail systems? Yes, as I told you, the cocoon cities of Novara are simply remarkable. After everything they went through, look at what they built. I see cameras on every corner. I heard stories about this place being a police state. Now I understand them. Order has a price, Madam Leia. A stable society requires a strong foundation. We both know something about that living under the Empire. But things are not perfect here either. They have laws governing everything. Did you know that littering can apparently earn you a prison sentence? Exaggerated, perhaps, but I find it difficult to object to the principle. Littering is an antisocial behavior. If discouraging it to serve as a common good, where exactly is the problem? Just admire this. You have so many different species, different cultures, all living under the same guidance. In harmony! You see, harmony itself is certainly not the natural state of life. No, we must fight for it. We must never take it for granted. If one desires to reach such a state, he must show effort and discipline. Harmony and authoritarianism are not dependent. They are other examples of multicultural societies that did not need to enact such extreme measures. But I'm not having this discussion with you right now, Vicario. Vicario, we don't need to do fascism. Vicario, I'm not doing fascism. I'm doing monarchy. Before you enter the monorail with the rest of the delegates, there's a small window to communicate with Leia and Vicario. What was Tamil referring to back at the harbor? Vicario was quiet for a moment, caught off guard. It is a personal matter, Mr. President. I would prefer not to discuss it, but I assure you it has no bearing whatsoever on my duties in your administration. This is no real capital built 10 years ago. That's what I'm doing now, because this is slightly better on my throat. Some of you may know that Novara remained neutral during the Fourth Grand War. We had some luck, yes. Many declared neutrality and found themselves caught in the crossfire. That did not happen to us. We used that period well. We built and developed. Our population is small, 23 million, but I have never seen that as a weakness. We have 5 other pod cities across the planet. Our surface was destroyed twice by nuclear conflict, so living below the clouds is impossible. To this day, part of our population still suffers from contamination. And yet here we are. We learned from our mistakes. We learned how to share, how to coexist, how to work together. I now want to export this philosophy toward the rest of the galaxy. The monorail glides to a stop at an open terrace. The city stretches out below. Far in the distance, the dark shape of the roof remains like a distant ghost still haunting the planet. The coalition began as an economic bloc. Trade, technology, immigration, practical things. We've decided it's time for the next step. 15 years have passed since the Fourth Grand War. In those 15 years, the galaxy has not stabilized. It has done the opposite. The Interstellar Pact grows, the USS grows, and as they grow, so does their appetite. Some would consider me an alarmist, but truly I am a realist. A 5th Grand War is coming. I do not know when, but it is coming. When it does, most of you will be forced to choose a side, the Pact or the USS. Exploitation wearing the mask of liberalism or authoritarianism, passing itself as solidarity.
I am offering a third option, one that protects your sovereignty, your autonomy. The coalition of Mantara is not an ideological project, no, it is a practical one. Separated, we are small and vulnerable. Together, we are something the bigger blocks have to consider. We are not looking for a war with the Pact or the USS. We want peace. What we do not want is to watch the bipolar logic drag the galaxy into the largest conflict it has ever seen, while we stand on the sidelines waiting to be swallowed. Look behind me. That is an Aruk. Tens of thousands of years ago, these creatures moved through our galaxy and killed billions. Every sector, every civilization, every species. They were stopped. Because we worked together. This is the only reason any of us are standing here. I am not given to storytelling, but I will make an exception. The people of this planet, the many different species that inhabited it for ages, hated each other. They could not sustain their differences. Their hate was so extreme it led to a nuclear holocaust. When that Aruk arrived on our horizon, the planet was already a wasteland, still recovering from the fallout. We had nothing to defend ourselves with. We did not even know life existed beyond our own sky. And then civilizations from other worlds arrived. Species already fighting the Uruk together. Empires, republics, oligarchies that had set aside everything to stand as one. They helped us. They saved us. For the first time in our history, Novarans of different races worked alongside each other and alongside people from entirely different worlds. And we won! You see that big monolith there? That colossal thing that reaches above the clouds. We killed it! But thousands of years later, we repeated our mistakes. We let rage, paranoia, and disorder consume us again. Another nuclear holocaust. One that destroyed our surface permanently. When I built the city, I made a decision. I built it facing that Aruk, so my people would never forget what unity made possible. So they would never make the same mistake a third time. However, I found it carries a second message, a reminder of what this galaxy can accomplish together. I will stop with the speeches. We will not ask any of you to take a decision today. We will not pressure anyone. You are here to hear our proposal, to see what we can offer, and also what we are asking in return. If you have an interest in joining the Coalition of Mantara, come and speak to me. I will share the specifics, what the Coalition offers, and what we ask in return. In the meantime, talk to each other. Get to know your neighbor. Look around at who is standing next to you. You will find you have more in common than you think. I thank you all for your attention.
A nice speech. But he said nothing of substance. No strategy, no concrete terms. Just idealism. Hope can be a valuable thing, Leia. He catches himself. Forgive me, Madame Leia. Please, Vicario. We have known each other for far too long for that. Even so, decorum has its place. But yes, the argument is utopic. I will grant you that. What I would suggest is that the President speak with Zatlar directly. What I cannot stop thinking about, however, is what they actually want from us. Zatlar speaks well. His words matter particularly now. But everyone in this galaxy has motives, and those motives are rarely the ones on display. As I pointed before, it is clear to me that they are gaining something specific by adopting the anima into the coalition. An eternal game of hidden intentions, as tiresome as it is exciting. A large figure rounds the corner and walks straight into Leia.
My apologies, miss.
He stops, takes them in.
Altorans, yes, Sadler mentioned you would be here.
His white eyes move from Leia to Vicario, then settle on you.
And you must be the President. I heard quite a bit about you.
He extends his hand.
Marshal President Brozovas, Social Federal Republic of Montgamia.
Montgamia? A former USS member state, now one of the Coalition's core pillars. Still socialist, just no longer Sarxos. His grip is firm and steady.
That man gives a good speech, stiff as a board, but he sells hope well enough. He did the same to me. Now you and I, we have some history, I think. My planet was still part of the USS during the Fourth Clan War. We sent a fleet, Tressia system if I remember correctly. We won that battle, of course.
Leia's expression tightens. She says nothing. Brozovas glances at her briefly, then turns to Vicario.
You I have heard about. The advisor to the Emperor himself, a royalist at minimum. Is that the kind of company the new Democratic Altar keeps?
That is a misunderstanding. Yes, I served in the Imperial Circle, but I was opposed to the war, and to every abuse that came with it.
Sweet words, all water in the breach, perhaps, but back in Montgomery we have little patience for little imperialist warmongers. That has always been our position.
Picard opens his mouth. He stops himself. Leia does not. I know exactly what mercy you showed to the soldiers at Trussia. Leia.
Oh, look at that. Look, I know well.
He studies her for a moment.
A husband? No. A son.
Leia says nothing.
How terrible the young dying for a decaying empire that had already lost.
Do not.
You have my condolences, sincerely. I lost my eldest son at Trustia as well. There is no glory in any of it. In that I share your grief.
No, we do not. We do not share the same grief. Brozovas ignores her. He turns back to you.
Despite the past, Sadler and I are extending a hand to Altara. We want a future without another war. That much is genuine. Certainly the idea attracts you.
I have a great ideal. I heard a great deal of idealism in the speech. What I want is to know why Altara specifically matters to Coalition. Looking at what delegates here today, it seems the Coalition is thinking very wide. Is there any criteria at all who gets an invitation? Altara wants peace. We're willing to hear your official proposal. I don't want a committed communist to find himself so comfortable in a purely pragmatic coalition. Why does Altara matter to the Coalition?
Come and talk to us. Sadler will invite you to a private meeting after this event. The details will be discussed later. I must attend to other guests, but if you wish to talk further, you will find me near the drinks.
He moves off into the cloud without waiting for a response. Picard turns to Leia immediately. What were you thinking? You are a diplomat, Leia. For the sake of the doctrine. The formality's gone. There's something between them that did not show itself until now. You were right. I apologize, Mr. President. Cario exhales. The sharpness leaves him. I know what you lost. But you were not the only one in this cabinet who lost someone in that war. We have to hold ourselves to a higher standard. All of us. We do not need to be so rigid about protocol. Picario's right. We are here to build alliances to secure out. Yeah, you will not act like it. What exactly happened back there? You never mentioned losing a son during the war. With respect, sir, it is a personal matter. But yes, he was a pilot for the Empire. A stupid, stubborn man, just like his father. Worst part is that he truly believed in all that circus. Slogans, statues, the national spirit, right? But again, at one point, so did I. Gentlemen, please excuse me. I will go and speak with some of the other delegates. Assess the situation of the Coalition. Of course. She disappears in the crowd. Vicaria is quiet for a moment. I met her son once. A bright young man. Full of spirit. Trussia is a more complicated matter than Brozovas has made it sound. The Empire sent those men into a battle that was already lost. This was right after Altheus. Our pilots fought as well as anyone could have, but the communist fleets outmatched them completely. Most of our ships were incapacitated, disabled, and yet the order came through to finish them. Destroy the ships. Even the ones that were already out of the fight, take no prisoners. A war crime without doubt, an act of pure cowardice. But, if you want my honest opinion, the Empire created a cycle of violence it could not control. We burned civilian cities and tortured enemy soldiers. We built a cycle of terror deliberately, so that our own men would never surrender, knowing what awaited them if they did. And at the very end, all of that came back to us. Just generalized savagery across the entire galaxy. Who gave the order at Trussia? What the Empire did was not wrong. It was war. The nature of war is death. Let us not dwell in the past. We have more pressing matters. Who gave the order at Trussia? I honestly do not know. At the time, Montgomery was still part of the USS, so the chain of command was complicated. You look around the terrace at gathered delegates. Dozens of species, dozens of flags, dozens of quiet conversations happening at once. Vicario reaches into his suit and takes out a small metal bib. It lifts from his palm. Fob? Fib? And it's floating steadily beside him. I hate using this thing. When I was young, serving at the palace, Emperor Sivo's father went blind in his later years. Emperor Sivos pushed him to use one of these. The old man refused every time, and I never understood why. I thought it was pride, stubbornness. Now I understand him perfectly. The drone scans the surroundings and feeds the information through a device in my ear. It is useful, yes, genuinely useful, but it feels invasive. Like something is always whispering in your ear, describing a world you should be able to see yourself. In many ways, it feels like a mockery, and there's something condescending about it that I cannot quite shake. As if the machine is compensating for what I lack. The orb drifts out across the terrace, circling quietly among the delegates. The Republic of Krita, the autocracy of Saud. Minor governments, mostly. Nothing you need to focus on right now. Wait. He stops. Your eyes follow orb. It was settled near a figure standing slightly apart from the cloud, a glass of wine in hand. An Altaran man. The orb floats back to Vicario. He catches it and tucks it back in his jacket. That must be Lucero de Altus. Now that is unexpected. I had no idea he would be here. I'm not familiar with the name. A peculiar figure. His father was a minor baron of the Empire, Regius Dialtus. I remember him vaguely, exiled for the corruption of a few years before the war began. Disgraced, he went to a small desert planet and started a mining company, a land of warring tribes and sparse kingdoms that had never shown any interest in the stars. The planet Sadarkaria had very little to offer. Iron, coal, worthless on the galactic market, but after his father died, Lucero started making deals with local tribes, and somewhere in that process he found something much more interesting. Diamonds. Gold. Not practical resources, no, but they speak to the wealthy. Status and aesthetics travel well across the galaxy. From there he expanded. Built relationships across the planet, stretched his company's reach into more and more territory. He became the de facto leader of Sadarkar, though I doubt he holds any official title that would hold up to scrutiny. The honest assessment? A very small planet. Minimal military, barely enough to discourage pirates. No cultural influence, no political projection worth speaking of. I genuinely do not understand why the coalition invited him. Don't speak of the leaders. Before you go, from what my orb gathered, most leaders here appear to be unaccompanied by advisors. I think you should approach them alone. It projects strength. I will find Leia in the meantime. A hand finds your shoulder before you have a chance to turn. The Altaran man from across the terrace is already beside you, a glass. Who is Mr. Smooth Man here? Glass of wine still in hand. You can see the man is not purely Altaran. The shade of his skin, his features. He is actually half Altaran. What a remarkable thing. A familiar face in such an unfamiliar crowd. He steps around to face you properly, extending his hand. Though I suppose we are not truly familiar, are we? Not yet. Lucero Dialtus. And you are certainly in darkness. The man commanding our homeland now. I have followed your story with great interest, Mr. President. A great deal of interest. Our homeland? As far as I know, your father was disgraced exile, and you're like, hey. Likewise, it's good to see. I'll be honest, I did not expect to find an Altaran in a position. Likewise, it is good to see a familiar face. Is it not? I confess I did not expect to feel that today. What a curious invitation this turned out to be. Finally, the work on Sadarkaria is beginning to receive the recognition it deserves. But tell me something, Mr. President. He tilts his head slightly, the smile settling into something more genuinely curious. What did you make of all this little presentation of yours? Not impressed. No, I enjoyed what I heard. Perhaps it's close to their standards concern me as they disparate from members. I would prefer to reserve my opinion for now. Yeah, they do seem desperate for members. Desperate. Yes, that is an honest word. Though I have come to understand that desperate men sometimes build the most interesting things, for they have no other choice. As for me, I am considering joining the coalition. No point in hiding that. Though I will confess the lack of a shared vision troubles me. Common interests are not the same thing as common purpose. I have learned that lesson more than once. But I need allies. Sadarkaria is small. A tiny place in the grand scheme of the galaxy. Extraordinarily small if we were speaking plainly. I have only recently consolidated things there. The tribes recognize me as their high severe. That means I am their suzerain! And most of them see it that way anyways. He takes a slow sip of his wine. It is a peculiar position to be in, you know. Managing the suspicions of a local chieftain and the intrigue of galactical politics. Both demand your full attention, a complicated and often dangerous game of chess, but that is the work. Sadarkaria deserves a future, a real one. The natives will not do that for themselves, no. They need a man of vision willing to build this future for them. And I see that future of Sadarkaria clearly. As clear as crystal. A land of exotic values, deep culture, but also, yes, a land of progress. And you, Mr. President, may come to play a considerable part in that. Think about it. I'm an Altaran, just as you are. In a sea of 1,000 different empires, republics, races, agendas, you and I already began this conversation with something in common. Certainly a man like you can see value in that shared background. Sadarkaria is a small planet, yes, I will not pretend otherwise. But there are plans inside my soul, Mr. President. Large ones. I have an offer for you. One I believe you will find difficult to refuse. A deal between gentlemen, not tied to the decision you take regarding this coalition. What do you believe in, Lucera? Lucera, what are your deals? I only make deals with the natural. What exactly is the deal you keep mentioning? Still not fully unsure. What kind of power do you actually hold? I have made a message. What do you believe in, Lucera? What are your real plans for Sadarkaria? Now, that is an interesting question. When my father first arrived in Sadarkaria, he had no ambitions beyond profit. I loved him in many ways. But when I consider what he had, the tools, the opportunity, the potential, He was a cautionary tale. When you carry power, when you see the opportunity clearly in front of you, you must seize it. You must build something, a legacy, not only for yourself, but for those around you. Every man has a crucial moment in his life, when the whole universe opens up to him and says, here's the clay. Now take it and build something you can be proud of. I looked at Sardaukar and understood that it was my clay. And the only way to truly seize opportunity was by taking political control of it. So I went and sought it. You ask what I believe. I believe every land demands its own specific order. Perhaps the USS needs communism. Who might argue with that? It is their people, their culture. Perhaps the Pact needs its individual freedoms and democracy. To each their own. But what Sardaukar needs is progress. Civilization. I call my approach guided enlightenment. The average life expectancy on Sardaukar is 35 years. There are a handful of cities with electricity. In general, it is a forgotten land abandoned by the Creator. Extraordinary in many ways, yes, but forgotten. The people there are good people. They have remarkable qualities, but they cannot truly rule themselves. Not yet. That is where guided enlightenment comes in. Someone must take their hand like a caring father and lead them in the right direction. That is responsibility. What I desire for Sardaukar is stability, peace, and greatness. A specific plan that I would prefer to share over a proper meeting. What do you say? What is the deal you keep mentioning? There are millions of Altarans out there in the galaxy with no home anymore. The Empire is gone. Be that good or bad, we have billions of our own people living stranded in nations with no cultural connection. Thinking about the Altarans inside the Pact, the Altarans on outscrolled worlds at the edge of nowhere. Do you think they feel welcome, comfortable? They are hungry for identity, for a return to something familiar. But let us be realists. Altara Prime is a single overcrowded planet. What is needed is a state ready to receive this diaspora. Now, I am no great nationalist, no purist. I have no desire to build a new Altara for its own sake, but I see potential. I need workers, Mr. President, people who understand industry, complex machinery, not a tribal warlord who's never seen an FTL ship. Above everything, I need builders, creators, innovators, men and women of ambition. And that's where you come. First, Altara Prime is overcrowded, plagued by unemployment. We can absorb some of that excess population. We simply need people who understand technology. And I know you do not have the power, at least not yet, to control populations. But you can advertise Sardaukar. We can make campaigns, attract people there. Only the excess you already have. Second, you will help build the idea of Sardaukar as a home for the Altaran diaspora scattered across the galaxy. Give me 2 years and I will turn those sands into a regional power. And when that moment arrives, Sardaukar will be a valuable ally to Altara. We will compensate you, naturally. Our operational costs are extraordinarily low and we are on the verge of opening new mines in Crimson Diamonds. Rich in Crimson Diamonds. Our surplus in the Mantara sector will be considerable. I also have plans to inform you that we have found reservations of valuable resource. We could give it to Altara. I would love to showcase it to you in person to be your host on my own humble planet. This is a long-term investment, Mr. President, a wise one. I have made my decision. Now, before you give me your answer, I'm not asking for yes or no right now. A great man takes time to think, to sit with his own thoughts. I'm simply inviting you to come to Sardaukar, to see the project for yourself. Say yes, and I'll arrange everything for you this very weekend. You and your delegation will be treated as guests of honor. The finest food Sardaukar can offer, the best wine, and of course, he smiles, a taste of adventure. Of something genuinely alive out there in the desert. So, what do you say, my friend? What makes you describe as colonialism? Altara will not be part of that, except I want to be clear. I would love to visit Sardaukar. Let's make this happen. Excellent! You will not regret it, Mr. President. I promise you that. We shall live like the old adventurers, the men of glory, enjoying each second of our lives with fortune and ambition. Now, Mr. President, I must go. It was a genuine pleasure. He raises his glass slightly, turns, and walks back into the crowd at exactly the pace of a man who has nowhere to be and knows it. You look around the terrace. In one corner, Tamila stands alone. Across from her, Brozovas catches your eye. He's waiting for you to start the private meeting with Sadler. I'm not talking to Tamila. She's a jerk. Go talk to Brozovas.
Mr. President, Sadler and I are ready for your private meeting. Shall we?
Yes. Let's talk about Montgamia.
Very well, ask and I will answer.
I heard you're a Talonist. Is that right?
I do not like labeling myself Mr. President. I carry a more federalist vision. Yes, workers should manage their own factories, have their own councils, and be propelled by the state for the transition to communism. But why I reject the label of Talonism then? After all, everything I just told you fits perfectly into Talonist literature. Just like politics, the nature of the revolution is never static. And a great leader understands that he must adopt change when times ask for it. In any case, perhaps that also mirrors the Talonism. The state must be strong and capable of defending the revolution, prepared to fight if needed. But all that while enabling workers and understanding that socialism itself is merely a transition, a means to reach a greater goal. Prozovus walked you away from the terrace and into a quiet hallway, the noise of the dogs fading by you. Let me ask you something. I know some of your decisions. Seems you are taking an alignment toward the working class. Tell me, are you seriously considering changing the direction of Altara? Is the class struggle finally making sense to you people? I want dignity and decent freedom for my people, but do not mistake me for communist. Revolution will come to Altara. I'll make sure that myself you're wrong, Bezorus. My fight is against the pack, not against some abstract notion of capital. We shall see. I will adopt myself whatever serves the Altaran people. Right now, our paths may be well pointed in the same direction. You think I'm a communist? Is that an insult, Mr. Bezorus? All conflicts are rooted in class. Working toward the revolution of proletariat is by itself working toward a better Altara. Whatever serves the Altaran people.
Yeah.
Honest answer. A man knows what he is and what he is not. I can respect that when I disagree.
You and Brozovus walk into a small office room. Through the glass, clouds stretch out endlessly, and somewhere in the distance, the dark shape of the Rook monolith remains, rising from the sea of white clouds. Zadler is already there, a small number of advisors and staff positioned behind him.
Mr. In Darkness! Nova, why did I name myself that? That's so cringe. Novara is honored to have you here.
Brozovus takes the chair beside him without ceremony.
Your advisor is on his way. We are having him guided here now. Your Minister of Interplanetary Relations is currently meeting with some of our diplomats.
You notice an absence of the other core member of the coalition, the Anima. Where's President Lynch? I thought Anima was core member.
We have deep and cordial relations with Anima. They are valuable allies, and we are grateful for their commitments to this coalition. Lynch himself was the one who first suggested Altara as a member of the coalition. However, there are compensations that require a specific kind of experience, specific kind of political maturity. President Lynch brings many qualities to this table. Strategic negotiation is not chief among them.
Door opens. Kario enters, guided by two members of the Novaran staff.
Good! Now we can begin. The future of the Montara sector is what brings us here today. And I would argue something considerably larger than that. I will not waste your time with lengthy negotiations. You will find I rarely do. We want Altara in this coalition. That is why you're sitting in this room.
What exactly is your plan? You cannot expect me to join blind. You want Altar in this alliance, along with what appears to be every other government sector. I will be equally to direct Zatler. Nothing I saw today inspired confidence. Okay, I'm interested. You cannot expect me to join blind.
No! I would not ask that of anyone. I have a precise plan for this coalition, and Altar is not an afterthought in it. You have a specific role. Our coalition does not seek war with the USS nor the Interstellar Pact, but we are not naive about what is coming. The galaxy is getting more and more polarized. We must be prepared. Perhaps you've not heard of Capitolia. It's a small agricultural monarchy. A coup is brewing in their lands. The USS and the Pact are both moving there, each pursuing their own interests. It will not stay quiet for long.
The royal family of Capitolia should be executed. They have it coming after generations of exploitation, but that is not the point. Sarksa is arming rebel groups and threatening direct invasion. He calls it liberation. The problem is not that this is happening to Capitolia, but that tomorrow Montgamia and Novara might be next.
And while all that happens, the Pact is backing a military coup by local generals. Different method, same logic. A small planet becomes a battlefield for two powers who will not suffer any of the consequences. A proxy war.
The USS came out of the Fourth Grand War carrying a strong position. That frightens the Pact. They got desperate. Hungrier than before. They need to expand their sphere of influence.
When both blocks accelerate, the smaller nations have two options. Pick a side or get consumed. An ultimatum. I suspect Altara already understands this. The famous Grand Judge Crista has made himself very present in your affairs, from what I understand. Tell me honestly, Mr. In Darkness, the Interstellar Pact, what do you make of them?
Pact's authority over Altara is temporary. They will leave. I'm not too worried. I hate them. I consider joining the Pact. Their Pact will leave Altara. It's temporary. They will leave. I'm not too worried.
You truly believe that?
Perhaps you are right. Perhaps they do leave eventually, but their trade agreements stay. Their legal frameworks stay. Their financial institutions stay. The Pact does not need Crista to control you. Our main goal is peace. Let me be clear about that. But peace requires leverage. What we are building here is a bridge between the Pact and the USS. A third voice. One that neither bloc can ignore.
Marshal Brozovus, despite his history with Sarksa,
still has lines of communication open inside the USS. Okay, Sarksa might want me
dead, but that does not mean I cannot reach other planets. I still have friends there.
And I can work to the Pact side. We have trade relations with them, small but enough to open doors. On the economic side, Novara's surface is poisoned. Has been for centuries, but that radiation produced something useful. The ground beneath our clouds is rich, minerals, compounds, things the galaxy needs. We simply cannot get to them, And even if we could, we don't have the workforce. Our population is too small. The anima could solve that problem. We are producing dozens of millions of them right now as we speak.
Workers and soldiers.
Yes, if war comes, we will be ready with an army of anima. But we need investors to get there. The cost of producing anima at this scale is significant. Altara can help with that. But there is something else. Your system holds a major FTL gate, one of the most strategically valuable transit points in this region of the galaxy. The Pact uses it to reach Coalition territory, independent systems, and it could even be used to reach the borders of some USS holdings. It connects vital points of the galaxy, and Altara sees none of the profit. Before the war, your empire controlled the gate entirely. Now the Interstellar Pact takes all the revenue.
Nationalize it, Mr. President. Take it back.
If you do that and join this coalition, the timeline accelerates considerably. 2-3 years, and we are at the same level as Zolsta. As Uniplara, one more after that, and we can defend ourselves against any threat in a war of defense. Altara can be prosperous, independent, part of something larger. And now you must have questions. Please share those with us.
Vicario speaks softly outside with discretion. Sir, if I may, I am not fully convinced by this coalition. It feels disjointed. The plan itself is not without merit, but it relies on too many conditions falling perfectly into place. That rarely happens. That position on the anima also concerns me. Lynch and his people are clearly not equals at this table. They are workforce. Soldiers at best. That is worth noting. That said, if you believe that this is the right direction for Altara, I do not foresee major resistance in Congress. This will require a vote, of course. Your word here today is not binding, but neither the Party for Altara nor Hope and Progress will have strong grounds to oppose it. The coalition is ideologically vague enough that both sides can find something to accept. Decision, as always, is yours. Plan hinges on me nationalizing that as an enormous risk, willing to the Pact and potentially USS as well. As the coalition grows, members will diverge, different interests, different... How do you manage? Okay. Okay, potentially the USS as well.
The risk is real. We are not dismissing that, but the coalition will be behind you. You will not be standing alone when the consequences come. Think about what that gate is worth, Mr. In Darkness. Think about what Altara could do with that revenue. The courage required here is significant. So is the reward.
Alright, the coalition grows, members will diverge.
Every member will have representation. Every voice will be heard. But let us not pretend there's no hierarchy here. There is a chain of command. There has to be.
Brozovis is right. We will never trample the sovereignty of our members. But this coalition has direction and leadership. That is how anything functional works. We are offering Altara a seat at the very top of that structure.
If Altara moves away from democracy, will the coalition protect me from... be honest with me, is the gate the only reason Altara might like? Yeah, I'll join.
Good! This is the right decision.
Brozovis remains in silence. I will begin mobilizing our party in Congress, sir. They will need to vote to formally approve this. I do not anticipate much resistance.
After the legal process is done, we will conduct a proper ceremony, making it official. Thank you for granting us your time, Mr. President. Before you leave, I have an unexpected invitation for you. Some of the delegates have never seen an Uruk up close. We thought of organizing a small expedition to the monolith. It will not take long. I will not be joining myself, but I thought you might find it worthwhile.
Vicario strains slightly beside you. He says nothing for a moment. Sir, this would be such an incredible opportunity. Simply be near one of those creatures. Beings of pure legend. Part of an almost mythic past, even if he composes himself. Forgive the indulgence. I will follow your decision, of course. Before you can answer, something changes the two. The organic mask flickers. Both eyes blink out of rhythm, then stop moving entirely. Zattler goes still. His staff reacts immediately, exchanging clip messages, moving around the room with urgency. Someone checks the panel on the side of the tube. Another speaks quietly to communicator.
Not again.
Vicario turns his head, picking up the sudden movement around him, uncertain of what exactly is happening. Then Zattler's eyes open, his inside voice returns, slower than before.
I apologize, gentlemen. There was a systemic malfunction. Do not worry about that.
What kind of malfunction?
Everything is under control. It was merely a routine issue with the synthetic maintenance systems. It has been handled. Please let us move to more important matters. Will you be joining our expedition?
Yes, Zattler, we will be joining your expedition.
Excellent! Transportation is already being...
Vicario tries to maintain his composure. Thank you, sir. He's so happy. I'm so happy Vicario's happy. Small platform ship departs from the city, carrying you, Vicario, Lynch, and Brozovis, and a handful of other delegates. Members of the Novaran government lead the expedition. The windows seal shut as soon as you leave the dock, part of protocol against radiation. I am so excited you are joining us on this expedition. So excited. And I am even happier that you seem open to joining the coalition. That makes me very happy. Very happy indeed. Now, Mr. President, let me ask you something. Are you familiar with the history of the First Grand War? Because I am very excited to be going to the site. Very excited. I've been there 8 times, and I never get tired of it. You see, I actually starred in a picture about the First Grand War. A production from our own Anima Cinema Studios, yes. A magnificent picture. Uruk Horror 3, The Return. I was a figurant, unfortunately, killed by an Uruk in a background scene. Very brief, but meaningful, I think. Now the main actor of that film, Jerry Olson. Jerry Olson? Despicable little man. Despicable. He was president once, you know, but he attempted a coup and was rightfully impeached. Dreadful business. He is directing a new picture now. I'm actually considering censoring it. I just do not like the man. I find him to be nasty. Deeply unpleasant. I'm not proud of that. No man should harbor hate, yes. But I would say it is very hard not to hate that man, Jerry Olson. Jerry Olson? Is that a real person? That sounds like a real name. That sounds incredibly familiar, and I'm going to look it up, and this could be like something I know. Oh, it's a senator. But anyway, are you yourself familiar with the tale of the First Grand? Why do I know the name? If it's just some random senator, why would I know that? All right. Are you yourself familiar with the tale of the First Grand War? Yes, I'm familiar with the. Thank you, Mr. Rich. Not as familiar as it should be. Go ahead. Picture this in your imagination, Mr. President. Tens of thousands of years ago, most races in the galaxy were completely separated. No FTL travel, nothing. Everyone alone on their own little worlds, or at least in their own little solar systems. And then out of the void beyond our galaxy come these huge, humongous things. Not traveling in ships, no sir. Oh, I'm mixing the voices, aren't I? No technology. They simply arrived. You could open your eyes, and they would just be there, standing on the surface of your planet. Out of nowhere! And these creatures, the Uruk, they were here to kill. Once they appeared on the planet, they would begin sending out this... I don't actually know how to describe it properly. Psychic waves. A strange invisible energy wave that would slowly kill every living being on the surface. It would take nearly a year for the Uruk to fully wipe a planet. A whole year of suffering and dying. And you could throw everything at them. Missiles, bombs, whatever you had. It would not even scratch the surface. Now, my creators, the Call, they were the most advanced race at the time. Though they were still mostly confined to their own solar system. Their satellites and telescopes caught the threat early, and they started moving. Technology rush. Ships, radio systems, long-range communication. They began learning other planets, other civilizations. Come together, be ready. Something is coming. Just imagine that, Mr. President. The First Grand War spanned multiple centuries, we believe. Centuries! Entire races meeting each other for the very first time in a desperate alliance against a common enemy they did not even comprehend. Different governments, different species, sharing technology and weapons and intelligence. And slowly, very slowly, they started winning. And with enormous sacrifice, yes. We believe entire races went extinct during that war. Species we never knew existed gone, and we will never know their names. And to this day, nobody knows why the Uruk came. Or what they truly are. They could be machines for all we know. Like me! But here's the thing, Mr. President. It was a heroic war. Heroes and monsters and everything in between. And as strange as it sounds, it had some positives. First contact between dozens of species happened because of it. FTL's technology was born from it. In Anima, we have made several pictures based on the war. Although, of course, at the time the war happened, we had not yet been created by the Call. A strange thing to think about. What a weird universe we live in. You hear a small siren playing somewhere in the ship, not an urgent tone, rather like a notification. Oh, it seems I am being requested somewhere else, gentlemen. The Anima are also helping with piloting the ship. It seems I am being requested in the cockpit. Farewell, enjoy the tour. The cabin is quiet. You and Vicario find him away from others. What a day. This coalition got my curiosity, I will admit that. You see, when I served Emperor Zevos, Altara operated under one very specific set of ideas. Order, ambition, loyalty to the monarchy until Altaran dream. Of course, you had the futurists, the supremacists, but those had represented only small differences, occasional friction. At the end of the day, everyone was pulling in the same direction. When you analyze the USS, they all follow the same direction. The same could be said for the Intercell Pact, although they have a lot of inner intrigue. But this coalition of Mandara seems to disregard that high level of unity. It is very difficult to keep a ship on course when every passenger has a different destination in mind. And yet there is something worth acknowledging in that attempt. To hold your differences together. To set aside your own ambitions in the name of common survival. One could say it is a noble philosophy. Who knows? Perhaps this alliance will prove me wrong. I keep my reservations. I still do not believe this coalition is sustainable over the long term. But I would be lying if I said I was not curious to see how Altara navigates it. We're missing something, Vicario. The absence of ideology is power vacuum. I took control of Altara United the same way. I will just repeat the process. First will be isolating Brazovas. Zatler will not be running his coalition once Altara is at the table. I intend to limit his authority. I'm still considering things. This time, I see his coalition as a genuine path toward Altara claiming his sovereignty, Vicario. Yeah. I understand the appeal of that, truly, but their plan depends on every condition falling exactly into place. The Anima production, the FTL gate, Brazovas and Zatler holding together. If any single piece shifts unexpectedly, the whole plan can crumble. I hope you are right, sir. I genuinely do. Now, slightly changing subjects. I would like to thank you, sir, for taking this detour. I am genuinely excited. Can you believe that? He lets out a small, quiet laugh, almost to himself. I hope you do not take this wrong way, Vicario, but why are you so excited? I'll not be able to see it properly. I'm excited as well, honestly. They looked enormous from the city. It does feel good to think about something other than politics for a moment. I agree completely. These are demanding times, and we must be careful not to exhaust ourselves. From what I understand, seeing the Rook up close can be a life-changing experience. Almost transcendental. We can take this moment to simply meditate on our own existence. You see, when I was a kid, I was terrified by the Rook. They were these monsters that came from nowhere. And even if it all happened thousands and thousands of years ago, just hearing about the tales still filled my heart with fear. But also with awe. I think our imagination is captured by the unknown. You hear the epic of the First Grand War of the Aruk themselves and has many, many empty spots, and naturally your mind just fills them in. No one knew their intentions, no one knew where they came from. So as a child, you just invent the details yourself. But as I grew up, that contrast, that double contrast between fear and awe, became more interesting. For the fear ended up losing to the awe. And so I came to possess a new feeling regarding these creatures. A genuine curiosity. We live in one of the infinite galaxies. This even sounds ridiculous, right? We already have so much history and culture in our own galaxy. Can you imagine that there are infinite other galaxies out there? We have so many events, so many things happening at once here. And yet we know nothing of our universe. Is that not simply so amazing? These creatures came from who knows where, and with their own history, their own innovations, and that is all we have. We simply have no idea what else is in that story. And I think about all that other secrets out there. The heroes and villains, the gods and monsters, the miracles and the horrors. Our entire galaxy, all our drama and wars and grand ambitions. It's just a small drop on a vast immense ocean. I have spent my whole life finding that thought more wonderful than terrifying. Imagine if someone could weaponize our... Why is that an idea? Why is that a dialogue option? I thought about it earlier, and it's a dialogue option. Shut up. Ain't no way. A quick save real quick. Do you think there are any Aruk out there? Has anyone actually tried to explore beyond our galaxy? Do you think Aruk thought about other cultures that are years inside the Imperial? What's their respect for Kara? I think it's something what lies beyond our... Do you think there's still Aruk out there? There are bodies, a handful found on planets at the very edge of the Outer Rim, beyond our galaxy's limits, all apparently dead or at least entirely unresponsive. Whether they went extinct, whether they retreated somewhere we cannot reach, whether there are millions of them living in a part of the universe we have never seen, well, honestly, any of those answers is equally possible. We simply do not know. You hear steps coming from that hallway, then a knock at your cabin door. What? Gentlemen, it is my great pleasure to let you know that we have arrived. At this height, it is totally safe for us to expose ourselves to the atmosphere of the planet. As long as we stay out there for less than 2 hours, we should face no complications. I now invite you all to join us at the Superior Dome of the ship. As you reach the Superior Dome, the blue skies open up. A vast ocean of clouds stretches in every direction, and then right in front of you, the dead Aruk stands. A massive black monolith. Cuts through the clouds like a spear disappearing somewhere far above. Majestic and terrifying in equal measure. A scale that simply exceeds anything your mind has reference for. And there it is, folks. It is extraordinary. I have never laid eyes on anything like this in my life.
Frankly, I do not see the appeal. It is a dead rock.
Despite his blindness, Vicario turns his head slightly toward the monolith, as if he knew precisely where it stands. A rare smile crosses his face. Technically not a rock, Mr. Brazovas. The Aruk are composed of an unknown material, completely impenetrable. To this day, no one has been able to determine what it actually is. Something like that, it must be worth an extraordinary sum. I imagine there are buyers who would pay handsomely for such material. It is not an article to be sold. It is a piece of our history. An enemy, yes, but also the main reason the galaxy ever managed to unite and form FTL's travel. It is a mirror of our greatest strengths and a reminder of what we once accomplished together. Vicario turns toward you. Mr. President, would you mind describing it to me? What do you see? I hate to say it's just a rock. Like, there was a very, specific art direction taken with this, and it was like, yeah, that's a rock. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful, yeah. It's inspiring. I know this creature to kill me alive, but there's some foreign piece of Earth's cloud, and then keeps going higher and higher. It's just alien, completely alien to this galaxy. The sheer scale of it is unbelievable. It inspires beauty, yes, but also fear. I can not even comprehend the sheer scale. I understand now your words. There's charm to the unknown. Is that not right? This creature had dreams, aspirations, perhaps even a family.
They came here to kill us.
True indeed, but let me ask you, why? Why did they truly want to do that? Perhaps we are simply ants to the root. Now do you mourn the death of an ant when you step your foot over it, correct? I am not trying to justify what happened by no means, but try thinking of all the possibilities. Give a chance to your own imagination. Allow your soul to speculate. The sun shines a perfect god ray on the monolith. Perhaps they were colonizers. What about religion? What if they were mystical creatures? How exactly how do we manage to kill their rook? The most accepted theory is that despite their skin being impenetrable, they still have organic insides. With enough heavy impact, they could die of internal bleeding. I also remember some theories in myth and legend that the coalition that stopped the Daruk possessed an advanced weapon, lost as the ages passed. Gentlemen, might I have your attention? Following the safety instructions regarding radioactive exposure, we will be closing all the windows along with the visual dome. We will begin our trip back to the city of Norillis shortly. The dome begins to close. It was a magical experience. Even though my eyes could not witness the Uruk, my soul certainly did. Once again, I thank you, Mr. President. You reach the city meeting with Leia. Sir, I hope you both enjoyed the tour. It was a spectacle, Leia. You should have come with us. Just, Leia? What happened to your etiquette? I apologize, Madam Leia. Everything is alright, Vicario. Do not be so serious, please. Well, I would have loved to join you two, but I ended up doing some important work. You see, I actually managed to make some deals with other planets. You might be interested in reading more about that, sir. The details will come to your table over the next few days. You'll have a chance to approve or veto these deals. Cool. As your ship clears the atmosphere of Novara, the clouds fall away beneath you. In the weeks that follow, Vicario and the cabinet begin organizing the formal procedures. There is paperwork, parliamentary preparation, voting sessions, but the decision is not yet official. That comes later, at a ceremony. Only then will it be truly done. I have 3 more things to do. Alright, we're going to do these 3 more things and I'm done. Holy Church of the Noxus Truth. You board the official altar and executive ship, but your destination is not the planet Prouch at the House of the Gnostic Church. Rather, the church scheduled for you to meet at the system Altheus. Altheus? Inside the Dead Zone. Initially, we had the meeting scheduled for Prouch, as you know. It is a massive gas planet, deep in packed territory, close to Deluvia. I have never been there myself, but the logistics were too complicated. The trip would have taken me weeks, just like for the forum. Our schedule simply cannot absorb that kind of time. Happily, the church was understanding about changing location. What I cannot explain is why they choose the Dead Zone for this meeting. We are headed to Altheus. The system Altara lost during the Fourth Grand War. Why is this region called the Dead Zone? I know Altheus was destroyed, but how do you have any... One moment it was there, the next it was gone. An entire system with billions of lives. And 15 years later, we still know nothing. We are totally in the dark on the nature of what truly happened. We have no idea what kind of weapon it used. It was genocide. A disgusting act, and no one has ever held the Pact accountable. Why is this region called the Dead Zone? This was the hardest choke point of the entire Fourth Grand War. The Pact pushed from the west, establishing a solid front against the Empire. In a desperate attempt to buy time, the Emperor ordered the destruction of all FTL gates along the western front, cutting those systems off entirely. But they concentrated everything into Altheus and the surrounding systems. That led to pure carnage, all that under altar and soil. Weapons of mass destruction, entire planets caught in the crossfire of enormous fleets. So many lives were lost, not only from Altara or from the Pact, but also many independent planets caught in the crossfire. And whatever weapon the Pact used on Altheus left behind a small black hole that disrupted the mass of every surrounding system. It is, however, curious that uninhabitability of the Dead Zone is not entirely literal. There's planets that could theoretically still be colonized, but it would make no logistical sense whatsoever. The major problem is that the entire region is a dead end. Even the planets who survived the war saw a total exodus of their population. Wow, black hole. Okay, let's talk about the Gnostic Church. What do I know going into this? I must be honest with you, Mr. President. The Gnostic Church is not a subject I am entirely familiar with. To most of Altara, their beliefs are largely alien. The Empire did a very effective job keeping the Church out of our territory. Even before the Golden Age of the Empire, we had strict laws prohibiting their religion on Altaran soil. Missionaries who dared to enter were executed, sometimes even tortured. The doctrine played a significant role in that, naturally. Now the Gnostics believe in a creator. They worship him, but they do not see him as a perfect being. In their cosmology, their god has actually abandoned the universe entirely. Their beliefs are built on the remains of an ancient human religion. Perouge itself was a tomb world, a kind of religious archive planet for the religions of the human race. And it was the church's founders found that it inspired everything they became. It was a confusing religion, if I'm being honest. Some historians believe the humans actually had many different religions. The Gnostics simply found one particular branch and adopted it as absolute truth. And they built their entire view of the universe on those remains. Then changed several aspects of the original scriptures to fit a completely new set of beliefs. But what matters more than that is that their theology right now is current political position. The Holy Church of the Gnostic Troop was once a major power in this galaxy. They commanded large armies of Templars, held a vast sphere of influence over many states and organizations, a genuine pillar of the galactic community for better or for worse. For centuries, most historians believed the galaxy was headed toward the inevitable confrontation between the Church and the throne of Zolstra, but it never happened. Every time tensions reached breaking point, something larger forced them to unite instead, such as the coalition against the Cull in the Second Grand War. After Oxaton, everything changed. 200 years without FTL travel had catastrophic consequences for the Church. Their branches across the galaxy, previously held together by the central authority of the Archon, were suddenly completely isolated from each other. Schisms followed, and the enemies of the Church had accumulated over centuries. Local governments, resentful of their strict dogmas, or suppressed local religions. They all took that opportunity to strike while the iron was hot. When the galaxy reconnected, the Church came back weakened. It only got worse from there. When the Interstellar Pact formed and Deluvia joined as a member state, the Church came with it. But the Pact is a secular bloc with no interest in nurturing Gnostic belief. Quite the opposite, so the Interstellar Pact worked to reduce what was left of the Church's influence. Now they still hold some strength, even a small army, but their role in the galaxy is a shadow of what it was. Many people within the Pact still follow the Church, yes, but not with any real zeal, more out of tradition. No government takes their opinions seriously anymore, and things will only deteriorate further in the coming decades. In this sense, I want you to understand that this meeting is unpredictable, for many reasons. First, the Altaran Empire was a fierce enemy of the Gnostic Church. Second, the current Archon, Primus XIX, is an unpredictable man. Rumors say he's obsessed with restoring the glory of the Holy Gnostic Church. He has his own crusade against modernity, and that also ties together with his claims of upcoming spiritual war. In addition, Primus XIX, that's Primus 19th, seems obsessed with ideas of mysticism and occultism. This apparent obsession is also a point of friction between the current Archon and other members of the Church. Wait, is that 19 or 91? I forget. No, it's 19. And other members of the Church. Honestly, sir, now that I've stopped to think about it, I'm a little concerned about this meeting. What are you concerned about? This man will do everything in his power to convince you of his ideas, sir. If the rumors are accurate, he is deeply delusional. He may even be dangerous. We should hear his offer, yes, but what can someone like this truly offer Altara? What do you mean by occultism? I mean that Archon genuinely believes in things like sorcery and demonology. He actively pursues artifacts and secrets, and he believes connect to powers beyond the physical world. Some members of the Gnostic Church have actually called for this removal because of it. As for my own beliefs, I believe in a creator. And I believe there are things that exist outside the realm of reach of physical knowledge. This is an extraordinarily large universe and is full of mysteries. But there is a difference between accepting the possibility of the supernatural and building your entire life and every decision around myths and fantastical tales. I find it very difficult to believe that the supernatural, if it exists, takes the form of demons, witches, and magical artifacts. Alright, I want to meet with Archon. That's a black hole, alright. Your ship arrives into the dead zone. Your ship moves to where the system of Alpheus used to be. There's nothing left. No planets, no debris, nothing. Whatever was here is gone. The only thing that remains is the black hole. Then you see a massive space station. It rotates in a way that does not follow any mechanical logic you recognize. Rings within rings turning at different speeds. Protrusions covering every surface. And across, is that like a biblically accurate angel? You go into the biblically accurate angel space station. And across the whole structure at regular intervals, what appears to be eyes. Hundreds of them all face. It's the biblically accurate space station. Okay. The Life Star. No, that sucks. The second Life Star. That's worse than worse. If only Vicario could see this. Our sensors point that we are close to the meeting point. The pilots slowly move your ship closer towards the station. Why can't I explain it to Vicario? You start to see that the eyes are actually massive spheres pulsating with energy. Your ship enters the hangar. There are no ships, not even a proper committee waiting for you. Instead, you see only one woman fully covered by a white veil. They're Muslims. That's not nice. The nuns in Christianity do that too. But I immediately just went, yeah, that's how you can tell certain cultures are influences, and I think it's interesting you can see that different cultures are influences in pieces of media, and that you can just clearly go, yeah, that's a thing from a specific culture. You and Vicario leave the ship. He uses his cane to tap the ground as he walks, the small robotic orb giving him some directions as he follows you. Yeah, that looks like a... Crap, I forget what the word is. Never mind. The woman seemed to be wearing some sort of mask along the veil. I have been praying uninterrupted for your safe arrival, and he answered. The true God always answers, even in his absence. Excuse me, what? He always answers, even in his absence. Okay. I am Mother Azelia, a humble servant of the Holy Church of the Gnostic Truth. And this is the station of Sandolphin. Sand-Dolphin? There's a Sand-Dolphin? Where? The tallest of his angels always. Well, thank you for receiving us, Mother. Please leave you for the station as an angel. I did. Oh, so we crazy. Men should seek to connect themselves back to the divine through their works. The station. Okay, it's a tribute. Tribute to our Creator. We bear upon it the name of one of his servants, so that we may gather his blessing. Sandolphin, a beacon of light across the darkness. The Archon has been looking forward to meeting you. He was to be present at the forum, but the Pact prevented it. In their arrogance, they believed their worldly authority stood above the will of the Holy Spirit. But no one can stop the connection between creation and Creator. So the rumors are true. The Church and the Pact are not on good terms. The Church has lived under the heel of self-proclaimed modernity for too long. Men cannot place themselves above spirit. It is simply against the nature of things. There is a struggle, a great fight awaiting. The Archon sees Altara as a possible ally and what is coming. He shouldn't. That is why we are here. She stops walking. Her hand extends slightly, her face lifting to the ceiling. She speaks with someone. Is he coming? Now? Vicario leans towards you. These people are crazy. Mr. President, my sensor org detects no communication signals. No heat signatures. No devices or frequencies of any kind. Who is she talking to? Is there anyone else here in this room? Very well, Father. I will see him leave. She turns back. Gentlemen, I require your attention, please. I have just been informed we are receiving an unexpected visitor. I must tell you something. This meeting was kept secret from the rest of the church. Saddens me to admit it, but there are those among our brothers and sisters who have lost the capacity to do what God requires of us. They have made peace with the secular world, and in that they seek to sabotage the work of our great Archon. One of them... She is interrupted. The hangar siren sounds. A ship is coming in. Mr. President, would you and your advisor wait in another room? The Archon would be grateful if your presence here today remained a secret between us. This is absurd! Mother Azelia, Mr. in Darkness, is an official head of state. His presence here is not some clandestine arrangement. We came in good faith, representing the Altaran state. What about our ship, though? He will not see your ship. I can promise you that. Who exactly is coming? The Church has always been governed by two Archons at any given time. The Archon himself who holds full authority, and the successor Archon who studies and assists and waits for his time to rise when the older Archon dies. For centuries, the relationship between an Archon and his successor was one of true communion. Two men working together, guided by the Holy Spirit, young and old, united for one goal. But the current successor is a disappointment. Dang! He's to dismantle what the Archon has built. He calls us extremists, delusional. He's even called the Archon an apostate. We tried to keep this meeting as a secret, but it seems he tracked the movement of the Sandolphin. Do I want to meet this guy? Is he just gonna be like, these people are crazy, man. Leave them alone, or that's a hard one. I'll wait in the other room. Let's comply. You and Vicario move to a smaller hallway off the hangar. Does this not strike you as suspicious, sir? We came here to meet the Archon. Instead, we find a strange woman. And now, instead of this being an official meeting, we see ourselves part of some secretive, conspirative plot. All we can do is wait. Let's try to understand the situation. You're right, but there's nothing we can do about it now. Try to slip toward the hangar and watch what is happening. All we can do is wait. Let's try to understand the situation before making any judgments. As always, I will follow your lead. 15 minutes pass. Mother Azalea enters the hallway. We have nothing to worry about. He is gone. Mother Azalea, where exactly is the Archon? Pardon me, but this entire meeting has been a mess. We came here in good faith, but
The Archon is in Perugia right now.
Perugia? We thought he was going to be present here. If you're trying to tell us that we came all the way here just to have a call with the Archon.
Not a call. The Archon was explicit on his instruction. No differential devices are to be used. Any transmissions could be intercepted by the Pact or Zolsta.
How is the President going to speak with the Archon if you're not willing to use any communication devices? What are you trying to do here? This makes no sense.
Please, show some faith. The Archon has planned everything. She conducts you two to a big room, a space bridge with a large glass view into the black hole. In the middle of the open room lays a strange totem. The strange structure seems crystallized, made of deep black reflective rock. It's similar to black obsidian. You can see your own reflection on it. In just a few minutes, we will be reaching the exact perfect event point. What we want here is to be absolutely safe from any espionage of the Pact or any interference from Zolsta. That black hole, she points at it, is our solution. We just need to get a little closer into its orbit, and we'll be totally safe to communicate with the Archon.
This is nonsense. I've not heard any theory regarding this.
You are correct on that claim, yes, but it is not simply a black hole. It is something entirely different. It operates through distinct laws. You must understand that this is not about science. Still, I will try to explain to you. Pact has satellites and espionage devices all across the galaxy. They can trace all sorts of communications, and right now, they have a target on the church. Our sensors indicate they have probes floating a few systems from here tracking our ship. If we get close enough to that thing, we will be able to fully isolate ourselves. For Zolsta, the false god, has put its eye on the Archon, yes, but here we will be safe from its ears and sight. Lastly, the most important reason why we're here is to be able to use this. She points at the totem. This is the way. This is how you communicate with the Archon. Yeah, what do you mean about call the black hole thing? As you know, 15 years ago, the Pact used a special weapon here, something that erased the entire solar system. Do you believe that secret weapon was forged by the hands of men? The reality is far darker. Only the Archon can tell you what truly happened to Alpheus. He is waiting for you. What is this totem? These are relics, artifacts, knowledge that exists outside what most people are permitted to know. Things from beyond our galaxy. The Archon understands that all of it, however dangerous it appears, serves a higher purpose, and in this holy war we must use every resource available to us. But you are safe. Nothing here presents a threat, I promise you that. Do you trust us? I'm going back to Altara. Okay, could they be on Altara? Almost certainly yes. You are a naive man, Mr. President. Cool. Alright, let's do it. Very well. We shall begin. I will ask you an acolyte to escort your advisor from the room. No one else may be present during the... Dude, why? A group of young acolytes and children, all of them, they move toward Vicario. Thank you, but I can manage. He sets his orb aside and takes his cane. I would just like a moment with the president first. He orients himself toward your voice and comes close, speaking low. These people have built their entire lives around this faith. Everything they see, they interpret through it. Every sign, every coincidence, every display of power, everything serves only to command what they believe. Their words and the strange objects might seem impressive, but impressive things do not make a person's words true. Be careful. He leaves the room. Now pay attention. I will put my hand in the totem. Then I will extend my hand towards you. You will hold it. You will concentrate on my voice and my voice only. You will feel your consciousness leave your body. You will step outside of your physical existence. It may frighten you at first. I will be right beside you. She places her hand on the totem. The light bleeds through her veil. She extends her hand. You take it. Everything spins. Oh, goody. Are we going to meet Alma again? You open your eyes and cannot feel your body. You're floating. The way you would in the sea, except there is no water. Only stars in every direction and the void between them. Far ahead, something shimmers. You focus on it. The galaxy. Your galaxy. You are watching it from the outside, from somewhere so far away that the whole thing fits in your field of vision. Trillions of lives compressed into a single cluster of light. Every war, every city, every person you've ever known, all of it right there, small enough to cover with your hand. And everywhere you look beyond, just darkness. An endless ocean of nothing except sparse stars. You look for Azilia. She's not here. Then everything moves. The galaxy pulls away from you, or you from it. The distinction does not matter. Because within a second, it is one light among dozens. You see them now, scattered across the dark. Dozens of galaxies, each one of its own ocean of noise and life and history. All of them sitting so far from each other, completely isolated. It is beautiful. To think each single cluster houses other trillions of lives. Then it moves again. You go even further.
There's something wrong. There's too much for your mind. You see hundreds now. Noise compounds. Every galaxy is full of voices, stories, conflicts you'll never know the names of. Catch glimpses, images that just spawn in your mind. A galaxy where machines and cyborgs have consumed every living thing. A galaxy ruled by a single figure who has been alive so long he no longer remembers his own identity. A galaxy where a circle of sorcerers formed an empire ruling all other nations, under their authority fighting against themselves in inner conspiracies. Another where all the trillions of lives have gone through an unholy experiment condensed into a single lived being, an abomination. It is all just too much. You do not find your galaxy. Everything gets worse. You move again and now you're so far away. You are orbiting the edge of reality itself. You can see millions of different galaxies, each one pulsing in your mind. Your mind is not built for this, not for the scale of it, but above all your mind sees something else, a great shadow moving in the way. It ignores some galaxies while consuming others entirely. It's getting closer and closer, but you lose grasp on it. You lose grasp on everything. You are losing the thread back. Your body is so far away. Everything is crumbling, but just as your mind starts to come apart, it stops. I am sorry. I lost you for a moment. Everything is under control. I'm here. You lost me for a moment? What does that mean? Imagine you are breathing slowly. I'll take you to the Archon now. You blink. You are outside the station, floating in the dead space of Alpheus, the black hole turning slowly in the distance. The sand dolphin behind you with all its rings and eyes. A man stands in front of you in the middle of space. The Archon.
Beautiful out here, isn't it? The marvels of creation. First time doing a jump like that is always complicated. Very complicated. Astral projection.
He says it like an announcement.
An old trick. Azelia is an absolute specialist at it.
Excuse me? Excuse me? Okay. What is Azelia?
Everything you need to know I will tell you. But not yet. We have other things to get to first.
Okay, what is this? How is any of this possible, I suppose?
The Creator left us many things to find, my friend. Right now my body is at Peralta, sitting in the Holy Throne. And yours is there, I suppose.
He points towards the sand dolphin.
If you know the right incantations, you can protect your very essence outside of your body. Simple in principle. Extraordinarily difficult in practice. I assumed you would be a beginner at this. Hence Azelia and the totem. He emphasized the sense of a small push to make the jump safely. The push was apparently a little too strong. You get away from us for a few minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you want to discuss for the offer? An offer! Yes, we will get there. But I am not an old man, Mr. President. Let us slow down. There are things I want to show you first. I have a question for you, Mr. Darkness. Are you a man of faith?
I believe in the doctrine. I believe in the doctrine. I'm in... Why is this... Deist, atheist, doctrinist.
I believe in the doctrine. The old religion of the Altaran Empire, yes. The eternal pursuit of greatness.
It's not really a religion, is it?
Not truly. The theology exists to justify the Altaran dream, the manifest destiny. This is a political project above anything. The theology itself is very shallow, if we are being honest. The great problem is that Altara was blinded from the truth, entirely blinded. The Empire persecuted our priests for centuries. Previous Archons simply accepted it. Passive little men they were.
Passive little men they were. Passiveness. What a sin that is. I'm talking to the Pope of the Space Church. What a sin that is. Ugh. You hold power. You could change things, but you are taken by fear.
But going back to the topic,
faith, belief, those are complex, complicated subjects. I was raised inside a church. We have a particular structure. 2 Archons at all times. One old, one young. The younger one, the successor, has no real authority. He is simply prepared. Raised to one day take the position when the older one dies. I was chosen early, but inside my heart I held a secret. I could not understand the Creator. I could not admire him. I believed in God, yes, but following him? What for? My entire life I learned that God is real, but he's abandoned his creation. After the death of his own son, he simply left. Everything that came after, all the evil, the suffering, he allowed it. Every bit of it. How could I respect that God? And the bigger question, the one that kept me awake, how did the Holy Spirit choose me as the next Archon if I had no faith? So I ran away, and then his hands began to shake. A moment of revelation. Something so powerful. It was interesting to me. It was an interesting thing, actually. Our Creator left us ancient texts. The religion of the human race. A foundation for redemption. One of these texts tells of a man with no faith. In fact, he was worse than that. He was a prosecutor. He was a persecutor. Are you telling me the story of Paul? The opponent of everything the believer stood for. Heart made of stone. It is Paul. And then one day on a road traveling to a nearby city on foot, revelation came to him just like that. I had the same thing happen to me, but my revelation did not manifest to prove God's existence, for I always believed in him.
I started to understand that God is just like me, just like you too. The church was trying to teach me this the entire time, and I refused to hear it. God is not perfect, and that's the beauty. What? He feels anger. He feels sadness. I want you to meet Rene Descartes and tell him about what you think. He feels sadness. He's far above us, yes, certainly, but he is still capable of mistakes. My favorite passage in the original scriptures tell of a great prophet, a man who could part the sea in two, guiding his people through that desert. One day, God summons him to the top of a mountain to present this man with his rules, his 10 Oh my goodness! They are based off of Christianity. That's so weird. Which I guess means all layer or something. Azilia is based off of a nun and not a Muslim woman. His 10 commandments. While the prophet is up there, his people betray God. They start worshipping a false idol, turning their backs on the very creator who is leading them home. God gets furious. He tells the prophet he has had enough, that he's going to kill every single one of them. Do you know what happened? The prophet argued back. He reminded God of the promise that these people would one day be led out of the desert. So how could God kill them now? That would contradict his own word. And God calmed down. He recognized his own mistake. A man made of flesh and bone arguing with the master of creation. And winning! Isn't that something? Shut up. That is the worst argument I have ever heard for deism. God makes mistakes. God evolves. He understands their struggles. He isn't some cold and distant thing unreachable. I find that deeply, deeply inspiring. I find that deeply unsettling, actually. If God's capability is equally capable, he still allows evil to happen. Is that not just passiveness, a sin like you just said? Of course it is, but if you must look deeper. God sent his own son to help the humans, his original creation, made in his image, and they killed him. They killed his son. Imagine that betrayal. Imagine losing your child to the very thing you created, which in some ways is also your child. Now consider we are talking about a being who exists completely outside our sense of time. All these thousands of years that have passed, perhaps to him that is only a few days. Perhaps he is still in mourning. Is that not understandable? If something happened to your son, would you not be devastated? The Creator is not perfect. He sits above us, yes, but he suffers, just like you and me. So yes, allowing this death and suffering is wrong, but despite his imperfections, he is still the only way. And I choose to love him, because this universe, this vast creation, it was originally made to be perfect, and for a time it was. The humans, God made them in his image. For a long time, they lived in harmony with the Creator, but their ambitions grew. Talking to the space Pope, this is insane. They wanted more, their ambition was big, so wicked that they betrayed him. Everything you see, all the suffering, all the chaos, all the wars, the result of it is that. It is the result of that betrayal, and in the absence of the true God, we are at the mercy of the adversary, the demiurge, evil itself sitting in the seat of the Creator. But our church was built on the foundations of the one true religion. We are beacon. We are path to redemption. Is that not what we all want? Peace and salvation. Knowledge roll? This is not right. The archaeological evidence suggests human head. +5, sure. Oh my goodness, it was a success. Your argument is questionable. At best, I recognize archaeological evidence, yes, but the scriptures are clear. The translations are clear. This argument will take us nowhere. That is not right. The archaeological evidence suggests humanity had many religions. You built your one fragment, but out of many, sorting ancient tales to fit a modern. Wait, I can just say that again, but succeed. I succeeded it, and he just said no. He just said, no, that's so stupid. A demiurge. The humans killed the sons of God, believing that in doing so they would become gods themselves. And after the Creator left, they were lost, directionless, until they found something in the dark corners of space. The nature of this creature is debated even within our own church. Some say it is a fallen angel. Others call it an abomination, a failure of creation. Something that should not exist, like a virus. My personal interpretation is that it came from another realm entirely, something outside of our existence. The adversary is nothing like the Creator. God may be imperfect in personality, but he understands this plane. He made it, after all. And at his core, he is a being of love. The adversary rejects love entirely. No compassion. Only hate, anger, selfishness. Alright, what is your actual purpose here? Why you bring this? I'm not done. Before I tell you, my officer, you must understand the bigger picture, the true nature of the universe. Everything you see here, all the stars, planets, constellations, they are a work of love. They're made by passionate creator, but they reflect an unfinished masterpiece, worse than that, an abandoned masterpiece. And that neglect, in that void, darkness has arisen. I've spent my entire life listening that the church should help men reconnect to God. Now we follow the instructions his son left to us before being murdered.
I'll do this another time. I'm not doing this playthrough right now. Just respect and love each other to turn the other cheek. To turn the other cheek. These are important, lovely words, but they are not enough. God will not do everything alone. Centuries ago, the Holy Church of the Gnostic Truth, a powerful, feared institution in the galaxy. Now we have bent ourselves to the mundane will of modernity, the secular mentality of the pact, and we have become hostages of our own dogmas, prisoners of excessive bureaucracy, wearing shackles that just limit our own strength. You know what they call me? Witcher, conspirator, some of my own brothers. The occult, the secrets beyond our galaxy. Is that not also part of the creation? And all that because I'm trying to search for ways, tools that can give us church power. Real power to fight evil. Sorcery, fallen angels, abominations, the forbidden. I can bend that to serve my holy mission. That's not a good idea. A weapon might be an instrument of terror, but if you use it for a noble purpose, you reshape its purpose. You reshape its nature. But my own brothers also condemn me for another reason. For I refuse to embrace the so-called New Age where men position themselves above God. The galaxy is set on direct course to chaos, believe me, Mr. President. The Fourth Grand War was nothing compared to what is coming, I understand. I wish my main topic of discussion here was simply how to rebuild the influence of the church, how to gain the hearts of the people. But there are darker things building up. Not only a new war between the communists and the pact, but something else coming from outside our galaxy. Perhaps you've seen it when you were protecting your own soul through the cosmos, as much as it hates me to admit. Colonel Zolsta has also foreseen it. You must understand that this is not madness we are talking about, but a very real threat. Azalea has showed me. The astral projection, just like we're doing here right now. In theory, if you have enough skill, you can even project your conscious outside the galaxy. It is dangerous. If you go too far for too long, you can lose your mind. But I have tried a few times, along with the help of Azalea. There are many dangers out there, I saw many of them. But they are isolated, powerful, immortal conquerors, empires where a man can fly and cut a neck with the swing of his hand. Galaxies devoured by abominations, killer cyborgs absorbing every race they meet. The Borg? They are not the real threats. They are far away, and thankfully they do not even know of our existence. Our galaxy has been blessed with the exception of the Arut. We spent our entire history isolated from all these dangers, living in ignorance. But darkness is slowly breaching its way into our galaxy. There is something coming for us. He knows we are here. He wants us. Our galaxy is moving quickly in our direction. Do you want to see it for yourself? Before you can answer, Azalea materializes in space beside you. Get away from him, Archon. I could not see it at first, but it's clear to me now. He carries the mark. Inside of him, he's tainted. The adversary. The Archon's eyes widen. He serves the adversary? He has the stench of darkness all over him. I can feel it. The dark influence. He is the enemy itself? Are you talking about... Oh, name drop. These visions. I actually need help. I don't understand. What are you talking about? Yes, I felt it. It is beautiful, powerful, majestic. You talking about animal? Like, let's just thought the name. None of that matters. You were corrupted by his presence. An ally of the demiurge. Azalea, cut his connection. The church will move alone. And by God, we will defeat this evil breaching into our galaxy. You open your eyes and are back in your body. You must leave now. You are a danger to this galaxy and make sure everyone knows. You return to your ship where Vicario awaits. Some acolytes told me and the crew that we should take off and return to Altara. I suppose the meeting did not end well. To be honest, sir, maybe that is a blessing in disguise. In my personal opinion, there's something unsettling about these people. They are insane, Vicario. They want to destroy the Pact entirely, install war and division across entirely. Their fanatics Vicario worse than anything the Doctrine ever produced. The Alliance could never work on its terms. Perhaps we could appoint them at the Pact, let them create enough chaos for Altara to use for the opening. Yeah, we could point them at the Pact. No. They're fanatics, Vicario, worse than anything the Doctrine ever created. I feared as much. The Doctrine, for all its faults, was always tied to the state, to the Empire, to something that could be reasoned with politically. The Gnostic Church answers to no state. They answer to God as they understand him, and only God. Yes, they are dangerous. We must keep our distance. Your ship flies away from the Sandolphin station. In a few hours, you'll be back to Altara. Oops! I chose the crazy... Oh, no. I chose the crazy choice. It's like, get dreams. Get weird, funky dreams. And you get... And space missions were like half off. And it's like, oh yeah, I'll take that. And then you get stuck with friggin' the Space Devil, apparently. Isn't it Governor RG of District 2? This is the last week available for the demo. You've played around 30% of Act 1. What does that mean? The presidential domestic ship lift off from the capital and bank south. 2 hours, give or take. You settle in. I was born in District 6. Nova Regalia. He says the old name with a certain familiarity. A long time ago, before the First Grand War, Altara was divided into 13 regions. Each had its own leader and government. What the crap? The Empire unified the planet, but allowed these regions to keep some of their traditions. My father used to say that centuries ago, before Altara began its expansion, District 6 had vast farmlands, green as far as you could see, but then we began expanding to the stars. Naturally, the economy shifted. So came the age of heavy industry, colossal buildings, progress, all of it. But once, a long time ago, we had vast, beautiful, natural lands here on Altara Prime. Excuse me, sorry. He pauses for a second. Do you ever get tired of it? The buildings, the urban landscapes, all hammering straight into our souls. Do you ever feel caged? How could I? There's always something new in the city, always the potential for adventure. I've actually been thinking about natural reserves, the project to restore the original Altara and flora. It's horrible Vicarian after where things only... Yeah, let's... the real problem is that we only have our Altara Prime now. Before the war, if someone wanted to escape the city, they could find another one entirely. I'm not in the mood for small talk. We could restore some of the original Altara and flora. That would be a wonderful idea. The North Pole could be interesting, actually. A special project there might be viable in a few years. Now that we only have Altara Prime, we should make the place a true home for our people. Let them be inspired by it. Let them feel they belong somewhere. If you're interested, I have prepared a detailed report on District 6. It covers not only the current public safety crisis, why the spooky music still playing, but also the current activities of ultra-nationalist groups, and a thorough analysis of Governor Sisypho himself. What is he, Governor Palpatine? Why is the music still playing? What can you tell me about Governor Sisypho? Tell me about those ultra-nationalist groups first. There are currently 2 ultra-nationalist groups operating in Altara Prime, both established in District 6. The Altaran Strike Front and the Futurists. Both groups have existed for a long time. Before the Fourth Grand War, they were abstract ideologies, rival chains of political philosophy competing against each other during the Imperial Age. Now, after the war, they have been making an alliance. The war put people in a desperate situation. And when people are desperate, they run to extremism. These people are capable of violence, sir. They are angry, and they are organized. And we believe Governor Sisypho is at least indirectly supporting these groups. Altaran Strike Front. Out of 2, the ASF is by far the more extremist group. They are young, founded after the end of the Fourth Grand War, but the ideology, Altaran supremacism, is far older, born from the General Apomus Altus. Altus was the mastermind behind the Altaran victory in the Third Grand War. He was a military genius and an extreme devotee of the Empire and the royal family. The Third Grand War was the event that consolidated Altara as a major power in the galaxy. Altus built a theory that matched that historical change. Some see it as shallow and simplistic theory, sustaining itself heavily on aesthetics and on the historical weight of Altus himself. It also fits perfectly with the doctrine. You see, at the end of the day, both the doctrine and Altaran supremacism serve the same purpose, to position Altara as the supreme force of the universe, destined to achieve greatness. Both the doctrine and supremacism were the main ideological pillars of the Empire. The doctrine was the theological pillar, while supremacism was the philosophical one. Altus preached the Altarans were the supreme race of the galaxy, that we should expand, conquer, and ensure our superiority as well as the purity of the universe. That includes killing any lesser races that dare oppose us. He also preached full devotion to the royal family, and that honorable death serving your nation is the greatest achievement one can have. Contrary to the futurists, there is no political theory here. It is simple and straightforward. After the Empire was destroyed, the ideology shaped itself into something new with the ASF. They openly preach active combat against the occupation forces and anything symbolizing the liberal ideology of the Pact. Extremely anti-immigration and going to violent lengths. They believe in action, not theory. The Pact criminalized them naturally. They will resist as a clandestine group outside of the official sphere of politics. In the Futurists, as an organized group, the Futurists are older than the ASF. As an ideology, however, they are considerably younger. The movement started about 50 years ago with Darius Aorta. Certainly you have heard of him. Pilot, war hero, poet, self-proclaimed philosopher. A polemic figure, naturally. He positioned himself strongly as an anti-monarchist, which took considerably nerve at the time. His ideology was far more complex than supremacism. To Aorta, the Altaran man should be an adventurer, a man of high spirit and ambition. He should elevate himself, achieve greatness, but then place that greatness in service of the nation, the individual feeding the collective. In that logic, he questioned what sort of greatness the monarchy had actually achieved. Their right to rule had come from blood, not merit. He never said the monarchy should end, not directly, but that would have gotten him executed, but he argued the empire should give more power to the common people.
He was also concerned with economic theory. Altara at the time had a stable economy, but inequality was quietly and slowly growing even to the Altaran population. Particularly in the distant colony worlds, Aod had rejected socialist theory entirely. He saw class wars as a distraction and an instrument to create inner conflict and turmoil within a nation. He proposed corporatism as the answer, with a strong state organizing the economy according to the interests of the nation and creating cohesion between workers and businesses. When it came to the Pact, he was firmly opposed to both democracy and the free market. On race, he was a fascist. On race and culture, he believed Altarans were superior. Maybe he was a fascist, maybe not. Okay, but he did not preach expansionism or extermination like that. Okay, so he might not be. He's a different political philosopher. He had more romantic vision, in which Altara is superior, but there's still beauty to be found in other cultures. He saw the universe as something to admire and believed Altara should position itself above other species not in cruelty, but as an arbiter, an agent of cohesion. In his own words, the futurist man must be in love with life itself, ready to guide the nation to a brave new world. He began futurism deliberately as an artistic movement, mostly to avoid imperial persecution. Narrative books mixing ideology with fantastical adventure, poetry, circles of debate, tales of Altaran virtue. Things evolved from there. He was arrested several times. But he built a myth around himself and the Empire, liking it or not, could still adapt parts of his ideology to serve national unity. He opposed the Fourth Grand War. Yet he fought as a pilot. Darius Aorta died at the Battle of Eotis, allegedly sacrificing himself to save a space crew carrying thousands of Altaran soldiers. This so-called heroic death cemented his place in history and secured the future of futurism. Now, and this is important to remember, this is still an ultra-nationalist ideology. Both supremacism and futurism reflect the same Altaran-centric nationalist vision of the Empire. Differences are in degree and method, but the core idea is still the same. Nowadays, after the Fourth Grand War, they have grown more extremist and more vocal. The Pact banned them as a political organization, so they operate as an artistic movement. Everyone knows about their alliance with the ASF. Either the Pact cannot prove it, or they simply do not consider the futurists enough of a threat to act. How do we use them to work now? How is Sisypho supporting this group? Sisypho is a member of the Futurists during the transitional years. It is certain he has some affinity with their ideals. We have no proof of what I am about to say, but I believe he still conducts militia groups using the ASF specifically as a proxy for vigilante actions against criminals. Extrajudicial nationally. He is also indirectly funds futurist meetings with his own private funds. Now the ASF is a clandestine organization, yet Sisypho makes no effort whatsoever to proxy. Futurists, on the other hand, are not clandestine, and District 6 serves as an open haven for them. Meetings, reunions, significant activity throughout the district. Officially, District 6 has no ties with Futurum. In practice, Sisypho is one of their biggest supporters. I've heard everything I needed. Thank you. And what about Sisypho? Sisypho is not an easy man to read. He fought in the war, part of the ground forces. His entire division died at the Battle of Eotis. He was the sole survivor. Before the war, by all accounts, he was exactly what the Empire wanted. Loyal, disciplined, followed orders without questioning. Perfect soldier, ready to serve the crown. But something changed after Eotis. During the 15 years of transition, he drifted towards the Futurists, joined them for a time. He only left the group officially by the time the election started. Now there's something curious there. The Futurists are anti-monarchist, but whether that means his views on the monarchy had generally shifted, or whether he's simply a grieving soldier looking for something to believe in, I honestly could not tell you. The royal family was already gone by then, so it was difficult to read too much into it. What I can tell you is that what he did in the next 15 years. He became Commissioner of Police, Chief of Local Security during the transition. The Pact fought his appointment every step, fearful of his background and futurist connections, but he was too effective and too popular to remove. There are rumors he was organizing local militias on the side for a few years, a vigilante group. When the elections came, he joined the PFA and won his sponsorship without much difficulty. The PFA suits him well enough on paper, nationalist, conservative, anti-Pact, but Sisypho is not really a party man. He has no patience for the machinery of politics for men like Lucian who thrive in that environment. He wants results, and he wants them quickly. The PFA finds him useful and slightly dangerous at the same time. This is something you should know. Sisypho lost his brother 5 years ago by the hands of the Yellow Command, a criminal gang operating in District 6. It was retribution for Sisypho's actions against their operations. They thought they would intimidate him, but that only made him angrier. It is important for you to understand that this man is also guided by his own personal vendetta. I understand how violent it is. Okay, I understand District 6. Ship descends into District 6 skyline. You see massive industrial buildings, most of them abandoned. They sit alongside dense clusters of slums and favelas pressing against each other with no order or plan. It is gray, overcrowded mass stretching in every direction below you. District 6 is merely a shadow of what it once was. Your ship sets down in an open harbor. There's a massive protest going on. I did not fix that. Cool. Alright, anyways. There's a massive protest going on, but security forces of District 6 are already lined up, forming a safety perimeter against the angry crowd. You step out of the ship, and instantly you can feel the hostility. The harbor is surrounded by gathered crowds. Protesters, tense and loud. Many holding signs bearing the face of a dead child claiming for justice. Your administration has improved stability and quality of life. Anger here is not aimed at you specifically. These people are grieving, demanding justice for the boy. But the mood is raw, and it would not take much to tip it. Justice for Bryce! Kill them! Chants roll through the crowd in waves. You scan the harbor and spot a distinct group standing apart from the protesters. Black jackets, traditional Altaran tattoos, all dressed the same. The Altaran strike front. Watching you with attentive eyes, signs raised, and voices demanding for mass deportations. As you pass, fists rise to there. They cheer you. The ASF's presence here is strange at first glance. The incident had nothing to do with Itaka or Yovans, unlike what happened in District 2, but District 2 is not their home. No regalia is. This is the best place for them to voice their claims. Their mere open presence here today is a political statement by itself. The black car moves through the harbor unhurried. No alarm, no panic. Whoever is inside has clearance to be here. The car stops. Lucian steps out. This was not part of the plan. The meeting was supposed to be with Sisypho. It was also supposed to be private behind closed doors. Yet here as Lucian is, already moving in your direction with a wide smile on his arm extended. Mr. President, how good it is to see you here today. And I can see you greatly care for the lives of the Nova Regalia. The reporter surfs forward. Shake his hand. Now that is a good handshake. Lucian firmly gripped your hand. He turns, even a simple greeting, into an event for the cameras. You see, for all our differences, I like your stance on things. You're doing a good job out there. We actually agree on more than you think. Work with us today, me and Sisypho. We have a real vision for how to fix this planet, restore our dignity, make things better for everyone here. The reporters close in. Microphones and cameras are pointed at both of you. Lucian is already positioning himself towards the lens. The microphone rises. A random reporter in the crowd speaks. Mr. Lucian, are you here today to speak with the President before his meeting with Governor Sisypho? Lucian is here on a pathetic attempt to pressure my administration. He is acting in bad faith and will give no attention to this little circus clown. Lucian came here personally asking for the aid of my administration. Naturally, PF to a total failure in solving the public safety crisis. I'll let him speak. There are rumors Hope and Progress is moving forward with a proposal for a new court-martial. What do you say about that? You all know my answer. It is a ridiculous idea. It will not move forward. War is over. We are the victims here, not the pact. What do you have to say about the violent crimes in Districts 2 and 6? The same thing as I always say. We need to punish these people. We must find a way to make our enemies afraid once again, no matter their race or beliefs. I do not care if they are Altarans, Itaka, or Yovans. Let me be clear. We need to jail these people in cages. If they insist on acting against Altara, we will execute them. But let me make some clear about District 2. The place has become a haven for illegal aliens, a pit for invaders who want to take our culture. What happened in District 6 was a tragedy caused by evil people. But what happened in District 2 was the result of 15 years of politics with the sole intention to degrade and exterminate Altaran values and cultures. District 2 is not only facing a public safety crisis, it is worse than that, my friends. Far more insidious. It has been invaded by aliens who are simply not compatible with Altara. To that I say, send them back! Alright, they ask if the crowd gets louder, clapping, chanting, going euphoric. Hope and Progress is moving with illegal action in the Supreme Court accusing the PFA of having ties with Altaran Strike Front. Do you have any comment on that? Are you insane? What kind of question is that? Everything the PFA does is under the law. We do not endorse violence. If we happen to find any ASF activity within our reach, we will do whatever is within our limits to apply the law. There's naturally a crowd of ASF members standing directly in front of him, cheering everything he says. But let me ask you something. Is it a crime to love Altara? Is it a crime to want a future for your sons and daughters? Is it a crime to be proud of your heritage and your culture? I don't think so. Lastly, how do you see the current administration? Do you believe the president will work aligned with the PFA to restore order in District 6? He looks at you for 2 seconds. Then he turns towards the camera. I believe there is still space for the PFA and the president in darkness to work together. We have many things in common, and I believe he will take the right decision in the coming days when it comes to the current public safety crisis. But the current administration will only succeed if they understand that there is no middle ground. We must fight to restore our way of life. I believe the conversation between the President and Governor Sisypho today will prove very fruitful for the future of Altara. Lucian starts moving away from the cameras, followed by a small group of staff and bodyguards. You're left alone with a crowd of reporters. A group of journalists circle you now. Right, shoot your president. Mr. President, sir, there's just a few blocks away from here. A child was grabbed across the asphalt, dying a gruesome death at the hands of criminals. If you could face his parents right now, what would you say? People want justice. What do you have to tell the population of District 6? Sensationalist question, I will not even give you the benefit of that. I'm not here to tell people that I understand. I'm here to tell people that I understand. This isn't a real problem that I'm here to solve it, but we cannot direct these feelings into senseless violence. We cannot tear down our own institutions to fix what happened. Their anger is justified and they deserve justice. All you deserve justice. I'm going to annihilate. You asked 2 questions, not 1. That is the dirty. Our goal is not senseless violence or punitive rule. We're going to change the laws. We're going to make the criminals face consequences for what they do. We can do that without waging war on the poorest, most vulnerable community. Okay. I mean, that's a pretty sensationalist question. But we cannot tear down our own institutions to fix what happened. Yeah. Mr. President, this is your first time in District 6 ever since being elected. How do you plan to cooperate with Governor Sisifo to fix the current public safety crisis? Well, I must hear his official proposal. That's why I'm here, but I'm very optimistic that we reach an agreeable solution that pleases both the PFA and Progress. I came here to speak with Governor Sisifo in good faith, but as your president, I will ensure that everything follows the law. We will not move forward with extremist measures. Our Constitution is sacred on all those values. PFA has an insane proposal. They are simply fascists. That's a bold claim. I came here to make it very clear to Sisifo that Altara is under democratic rule. There is only one solution to these problems that involves extremist measures. My plan very simple. We jail them. We jail a lot. We jail a lot of them. We might even kill some of them. These are bad people, folks. Evil people, nasty people, and they're gonna jail like you have never seen them before. People will say, sir, we have never seen so many criminals go to jail. And I will say, that is right. This is what justice looks like. I said the Trump option. Oh, goodness. What have I done? Lastly, sir, what do you have to say regarding the supposed behavior of Governor Sisifo and the PFA when it comes to rumors that they harboring ultra-nationalist movements like the Futurists and the ASF? This is a whole different problem. I will not address this tonight. It's clear to me that Sisifo and the PFA believe they can work in an alliance with anti-constitutional movements while behaving as if nothing is happening. The ASF is a fascist movement I will not tolerate. So my answer, it seems I'll have to clean the trash myself. I want the police officer to do their job and arrest these fascist terrorists now. I say good for Sisifo and the PFA. The ASF and the Futurists deserve their right to free expression, and it's time someone challenged Christopher in the pack. That's a whole different problem, and I'm not going to address it right now tonight. You leave the harbor. Security of convoy of official state vehicles takes you to a meeting with Sisifo. District 6 unfolds outside the windows of your car. Decay, poverty, dark streets, buildings that have not seen real maintenance in years. It is night. The streets are nearly empty. People avoid walking here after dark. Not because anyone is guaranteed to get robbed, no, but because the possibility hangs over everyone year after year until it becomes part of how people plan their day. Citizens here have grown accustomed to fear. They accepted their new reality, slowly adapting to it. Despite this apparently dystopian atmosphere, life moves on normally. Supermarkets, department stores, all lit up against darkness. Some even with guards posted at the entrance. The convoy avoids the worst areas. But you can still catch glimpses. Small clusters of people gather beneath broken streetlights. Nevins users, all huddled together in open-air encampments. You arrive at the... What's Nevins? Is it like a drug? Uh-oh. You arrive at the Regalia residence where Governor Sisifo awaits. Similar to the Meridian Tower in the Capital District, the Regalia residence is a tall tower, offering a full view to the skyline of District 6. As you and Vicario walk through the hallways, a man approaches you. He's an Altaran man, young. You would guess he is in his late 20s, yet it feels like he's trying to appear older. His expressions, his haircut, the way he walks and portrays himself, it all feels like too much like someone emulating maturity through aesthetics. Mr. President, excuse me. My name is Derrida Franco. I am aware you have a meeting scheduled with Governor Sisifo, but I would like to have a few minutes of your time. Derrida Franco? Yes, I have heard this name before. This man is aligned with the Futurists, Mr. President, and proudly so. There are many things wrong with Altara. That much is certain to all of us. As a Futurist, my peers and I are deeply worried about what tomorrow holds for this great nation. I apologize if my presence here is unexpected, but one must step up when the opportunity presents itself. Your visit to District 6, I believed it would be my only chance to approach you directly. Mr. Franco, it depends solely. If it depends, you would be in jail right now. I do not care if you're a Futurist. What do you want to talk about? For 15 years, Altara did not possess the right to govern itself. Now, finally, there's an Altara and we can look eye to eye. As a Futurist, I am here to present you our beliefs. Some people make the mistake of assuming Futurism is simply a political movement. No, that is of course far from correct. We represent a shifting culture, in the arts, in philosophy, in spirit. As the name suggests, we are the ones who will guide Altara to a glorious new Okay, so they might actually just be regular fascists. And we are talking about something bigger than you and me, Mr. President. We are talking about the hopes and dreams of the youth, of men who will not stand down anymore. As a Futurist, I reject the past. I do not wish to conserve Altara, for I am no conservative. I am a revolutionary guided by the violent flame of changing times. A flame destined to become something greater. Conflagration. Above everything stands the ideal of the nation, Altara. One unified and great nation guided in one single glorious direction. The nation feeds the individual who in exchange feeds the nation. A man must embrace his individuality. Okay, so they're probably not fascists then. His individuality to produce greatness. Futurism believes that the nation should be guided by men of ambition. Adventurers, men of greatness. But for those below the positions of power, greatness can still manifest, even in the simplest of practices. Think of a farmer. He serves his nation by feeding his compatriots. Now imagine teacher. She serves her purpose by preparing and instructing the younger generations. In that way, every individual feeds the collective, which in turn protects the individual. We must protect the individual from the insidious ideology of communism, whose only purpose is to divide the people, to fragment a nation and turn it into an amorphous blob of nothingness. And the nation must also protect its people from the lies of capitalism, from the so-called free market, the nefarious great lie of the invisible hand, which only serves to hammer down the common people, a meat grinder that destroys workers in favor of rich parasites and elites who seek to undermine the nation. But the strong must guide the meek. That is the only way for a nation to thrive. In this modern age of democracy, Altara has been left dissected by our enemies, an open decomposing body paraded before those who wish us gone. So I'm eager to see if you are a man capable of changing this. Nonetheless, we have a very rare opportunity to actually speak here. You must understand that times are changing quickly. Altara is at crossroads. You came here to discuss matters of public safety with the governor. I'll let you know the position of the futurists. You must fight evil, and you can only fight evil through force. We are talking about extreme measures, executions if necessary, Mr. President. The war destroyed our sense of community. We must rebuild our community and still order through any means necessary. Criminals who committed these crimes in District 6 were Altarans. This does not exempt them from punishment. Death penalty is the only appropriate answer to what happened to that child. But there is more. More beyond the current matter. Far deeper threats to Altara. What threat do you speak of? Franco steps toward the window. Just take a look outside. Stacked buildings, decaying slums, poverty, chaos. I have a plan for this already. Countless Altarans came back to Altara Prime after the war ended. Our planet got poorer, more overcrowded. So tell me, why do we receive so many immigrants on top of all that? Why do we keep receiving illegal ones? You know, some of the planets should be destroyed. They should never come here in the first place. The pack wanted their forces. I'm aware of the immigration crisis and I'm working to solve it. Good, but you must understand how deep the situation goes. Let me be clear. I do not hate these people. They are simply incompatible with our culture and values. Every culture, every species is born from a complex and intricate background of different historical events, all interchanging. There's a beauty to that. As a futurist, you end up looking at a life with a rather romantic view. The Aitaka are big, strong, certainly more so than an Altaran. The Yovans, despite being used as slaves for manual labor by the Empire, actually possess a remarkable memory. They all have their qualities. I can recognize that. But their cultures are simply not compatible with ours. They are a threat to us. They are here to destabilize our nation. Remember what I told you. The Altara should stand as one, moving in a single direction. How can we achieve that when our nation is losing all its identity? Every day there are more voices, every single one demanding something different, pulling the ship in a different direction, and worst of all, creating disorder. You've Aitaka people making up fights, cases of aggression rising. You have followers of Zalsta growing more aggressive in their own neighborhoods. Things will explode soon. Didn't I say no to Zalsta followers? Everything will get out of control. Again, this entire chaos related to the death of the child is justified. But do not forget that in District 2, a place plagued by illegal immigration, we are literally seeing games formed by illegal aliens going on full race wars between themselves. All that chaos and needless violence is just a little peek at what is coming for Altara in the next 15 years. We opened our gates to people who hate us. The Pact wanted that. It is part of their strategy, to keep Altara divided, filled with ethnic rivalries. Fracture the political process even further, and slowly they will not only erase Altaran culture, but cull all political power away from the real Altarans in favor of the ever-growing immigrant population. We should not care whether their anger is justified. We should not care if we are the bad guys. We should protect our own and send them home. And if they have no home to return to, then they can find somewhere else. Perhaps the Pact can open their own gates to them. So I'm asking you to take this matter seriously. These people just need to be assimilated into our culture. I came here to speak with Sisypho about public safety, all that sensationalist, multiculturalism. These people are here to stay. I may have talked to you. I don't think you're... yeah, I would say they need to be assimilated. But I have a, planet I'm gonna start sending people to. Talking to some random colonialist who's like, hey, you want to send a bunch of people to a random planet? I'm like, you see, I have a problem with overpopulation, so yes. We can coexist. So long as they assimilate. Can they? Is it worth the effort? Again, the main issue here is not whether these people are good or not. They are no savages. I do not believe that. They are simply not compatible with us. I think this was, all in all, a positive conversation. I must leave you to your meeting with Governor Sisypho. Thank you for your time, Mr. President. What is your economic proposal? Let me guess, the government controls... How has Christopher not arrested you yet? I must go now, thank you. Again, thank you for your attention, Mr. President. You finally reached Sisypho's office. He is sitting at his desk, looking at the skyline outside.
Well, there you two are.
He gets up and shakes your hand. He nods at Vicario.
Welcome to District 6, Mr. President. I apologize for what happened at the harbor.
Lucian. He pauses, thinking on his next words.
Look, I'm with the PFA. You know that, but that boy is a complete idiot. I am a straight man with no patience for theatrics. I assure you I have nothing to do with that. Anyways, you took longer than I expected. Something happened?
Yeah, I stopped by a young man named Franco, do you know?
I told that boy to stay away. Look, Franco insists me with things around this district. It's useful to have an influential citizen on your side. He keeps me informed, but he's not a part of my administration. I never asked him to approach you.
Alright, I have questions. I'm surprised you hear you don't like. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Let's get to the point, Sisypho. I have questions. How do you meet Franco? You clearly have political ambitions. What is your end game? Okay. ASF and Futurist. I'll be blunt with you. He stops, takes a moment. I do not support or endorse any ultranationalist movements. Anyway, we came here to discuss public's... Wow! Perception test. Cool. Oh, it worked! He is lying. Sisypho is trained and experienced. He knows how to hold himself, but under your stare, he shifts just slightly. Look! Futurists operate within the law. The ASF is a threat, yes, but this is my district. One of the perks of democracy is that you don't have unlimited powers. You want to investigate me? Go ask Krister. Otherwise, drop it. How do you meet Franco?
I used to be a member of the Futurists, not a secret. They're a fully legal organization. Franco was always interested in politics. Too young for the war, but he understood it. Understood what we lost. He's a useful asset.
Okay, so we have political ambitions. What is your endgame?
I'm not part of the future of this nation, Mr. President. Not really. I might have 20, 30 years left in me. But I do not plan to be your adversary in the next elections, if that is what you are asking. My only ambition is to help restore Altara, to help the peaceable of this district, to take the evil out of Nova Regalia.
That sounds nice. I had one more question. Let's look at the public safety proposal.
I believe you had a chance to see for yourself how things are here.
Passes you file. 136 homicides per 100,000 citizens? Oh my goodness, that's a percent of the population. Wait. No. 136 homicides per... Is that 736? Or 130? So it's like 0.1% of the population. I'm sorry. So that's like 0.1% of the population is murderers, or
major criminal factions. Entire regions under their control. Some very graphic photographs.
Nova Regalia. Oh, that's not
Nova Regalia.
I was born and raised here. Just reading dialogue prompts and so forth.
These buildings, these blocks of skyscrapers, these factories, they were always here. There's no nostalgia in my heart, Mr. in Darkness. This place was always ugly, but it used to offer dignity to its citizens. You can walk outside now an hour without worrying about your safety. That is gone now. How did it happen? Progressives are right about some of it. The roots are social, of course they are. This district was too dependent on the arms industry. When the war ended and the army was dismantled, these factories were closed overnight. The pact offered no way out. They made it worse. Regulate.
Can we just reopen the arms factories?
Regulations, limitations, restrictions on our industrial parks. Good, honest people thrown outside with nothing. Then comes the Yellow Command, a criminal organization formed by sparse crime lords who had no breathing room during the Imperial Age. Now I have lost all faith in the Empire, but they knew how to suppress. Now I have lost all faith in the Empire, but they knew how to suppress criminals. Once they were gone, the Pact installed a constitution that gives too many rights to the scum. Lenient, completely lenient, and so evil grew from the social cracks, exploiting every vulnerability of District 6. We have other factions, yes, but the Yellow Command is our biggest enemy. A massive phalanx of criminals who actually learned guerrilla tactics and built a coherent line of action, headless leadership, many different sparse leaders across different environments, which makes everything worse, harder to strike, harder to punish. Fatality that happened with that child,
Those gangsters were part of the lower ranks of the Yellow Command. What I need you to understand are 3 things. 1. The Yellow Command, despite what the Progressives or the Pact will tell you, operates through terror. They are terrorists. They take entire neighborhoods, go into the slums and favelas. And can we use... what is it called? There's, RICO. You can use a RICO case, can't you? Like, you just prosecute the people in charge of the people? Yeah, you can use a RICO case against these guys. That's exactly what you should do. They take entire neighborhoods, go into the slums and favelas, and control access to energy and the macronet, weaponizing basic services for profit. They kill innocent civilians who have nothing to do with their businesses. They protect smaller criminals who will in turn outright kill Altarans for nothing. 2. This started with social cracks, yes, but it goes deeper. There's the fallacy that the criminal is deep down a good individual pushed into a crime by circumstances. This might be true for a few individuals, but you need to understand that some people simply enjoy being criminals. They do not want to survive, they want to thrive. They see it as a path to wealth, power, and status. A culture of ostentation. Power above everything else. 3. These factions literally occupy state territory. They have military tactics, parallel laws, and they will shoot police on sight at every attempt to enter their control zones. Those 3 points apply to District 6 most specifically, but they extend to the entirety of Altara Prime. With that said, I have worked with the PFA on a detailed program to eradicate crime on this planet. The plan is built on 2 absolute truths. 1. We are at war. Every day, innocent people are dying. We can stay low and refuse to escalate, afraid of collateral damage, but that changes nothing. These criminals already treat this as a war. We should too. 2. The legal changes imposed by the Pact have allowed criminals to go unpunished. That has to end. If we are willing to cooperate with the PFA's proposal, I will assure you we will also cooperate with your administration on the coming tax reform. My first proposal is changing the age of criminal responsibility. Currently, anyone below the age of 10 in Altara cannot go to jail. Oh, sorry, but below the age of 18. The worst that can happen is a juvenile facility. 30 years maximum, no matter the crime. Rape, murder, it does not matter. Jeez, at the eyes of our brilliant new laws made in the image of our progressive legal systems of the Interstellar Pact, these people are simply exempt from consequences. And that is not all. Once they are released, the criminal record is sealed. Crime disappears legally once they turn 18 or complete the measure. This is insanity. Pure insanity. These people who made these laws will tell you this is a good thing. That gives the so-called child a chance to start fresh. A second chance. That, and pardon my language, is a whole program. What actually happens? Criminal gangs recruit minors specifically for their most dangerous operations because the legal exposure is minimal. Some of these younger criminals feel outright protected, committing daily acts of crime and terror. Disaster with that child, Bryas. Did you know that one of the criminals involved was below 18? And by law, not even his name could be disclosed to the public. Is that fair? My first proposal is to lower the age. That actually, I kind of like that, because what 14-year-old is going to... It's like maybe a 14-year-old, but like definitely not a 13-year-old is going to do that. The person had the guts to commit the crime, they have the guts to face the full punishment of the law. Do you agree? Be reasonable, Sisypho. This would be truly throwing a person less compromise on 16. I'm not so sure about 16. Why not lower it to 12? Jeez. Slow. Weave. I'm not sure. Can I change it to 15? I would like 15 instead of 16. Why not lower it to 12? Are you a madman? Yes, I absolutely agree. That might actually be a good idea, because, like, a 14-year-old kid, hey, you make mistakes, but a 15-year-old, it's just the point where it's like, hey, there's certain crimes, like, you kind of understand that point. And like you said, that they particularly go for younger men. And so you're just basically just taking out the people who are going to be of greater strength at the age. It's like, no 14-year-old is going to be strong enough to join a mafia. Good to hear. My second proposal tackles the issue of controlled territory. This proposal allows all district governments to conduct special armed operations against crime in urban zones, residential or otherwise. Favelas, slums, these are new concepts for Altara Prime. Before the war, we had none of this here on the capital planet. The law currently prohibits me from acting inside these areas. No special operations. Once a criminal enters a controlled favela, there's nothing I can do. This has been the case ever since I was chief of police, long before I became governor. These slums are safe havens. Criminals will do whatever they want inside of them. That kind of sounds dirty, though. We're not letting that stick. My opponents will say that conducting operations there puts civilians at risk, and they are right. It does, but we are already at war. And as I keep saying, innocent people are already dying every single day. We cannot allow that to continue out of fear and isolation. Now, the higher heads of the Yellow Command do not live in all these places. There is money behind these factions.
rich people operating from comfortable distances, but the bulk of their logistics runs through the slums. If we strike with well-trained operations, we can do real damage. We can take back those urban spaces. We can free these people living there under criminal rule. This proposal gives direct authority to governors and to you as chief of the state to enter any residential area and conduct a carefully planned special operation. You agree? Forgive me, sir. I've been trying to give you space on this entire matter, but this particular point deserves extra consideration. What he is describing may have merit in some aspects, but he's proposing to give unrestricted operational authority to governors over any residential zone. That goes above your authority. It could easily be used against political opposition. Sisypho waits. The only person Altar with authority to authorize this type of authority. Can I authority roll? I'll run for it. That was a failure. I'm keeping this proposal exactly as it is. Lastly, harsher sentences. I have prepared a package of laws. The hard ceiling for crimes in Altar is currently 30 years. This alone might not seem too bad, but I think about sentence progression. A man is sentenced to 12 years for drug trafficking. A first-time offender can see that sentence reduced by 2/3, and those remaining years are still subject to progression rules. That man could be out of prison in 2 years. The same logic applies to violent crimes. We have dangerous people walking these streets who appear to be under heavy sentences until the numbers get whittled down to almost nothing. We are going to change that, set the numbers considerably higher. Life sentences for murder. Higher sentences across the board for drug trafficking, rape, and armed robbery. And no more sentence progression. You committed the crime, you serve the time. All of it. If it depended solely on me, we would go for the death penalty, but that would give Christopher leverage to block our entire proposal. So we're not going there. Not yet. But naturally, these changes, the higher sentences, they will increase the costs of the state. We will need more prisons. That is a necessary cost. Do you agree? What? I didn't even get to... Okay, there we go. Press some for a second. Okay. I agree, you have an extremely simplistic... There's penal system, so we cannot go for life sentences. The cost will be too high, a maximum of 50 years. No progression, that will be my comp. Life sentences. Sometimes you could have life sentences. Agree. Good. We are on the same page. Those are my 3 proposals. This is what will be represented to Congress this weekend. I see myself as a reasonable man, Mr. President. I'm worried about the safety of my people. Immigration matter? That is not on my list. It might be a central issue for the rest of the PFA and the nationalists, and I understand that. But the situation in District 6 is about generalized crime. What I am proposing here are fast, effective ways to dismantle it. Your files mention you lost your brother. He was murdered by the old man. Does that make you true? I agree with this. Many of the things you have said. Your proposal valid, particularly make it better. Yeah, like what about all the you got to go after the people in charge. All that is part of the plan, absolutely, but we need shocking measures, immediate action. I see we disagree on the approach, but the PFA is moving with the proposal regardless. I thank you for your time. I thank you for coming here. I wish you a safe return. Step outside the building. The convoy moves through the dark streets of Nova Regalia. Move back toward the harbor. You board the ships. The city falls away beneath you. Lucario settles into his seat. Well, you heard what Sisypho had to say. You still have time to consider his proposal. Compare it with whatever hope and progress brings to the table. For now, let us go back. But I keep thinking of the situation regarding the nationalist movement. For now, our minds are occupied with the public safety crisis. But I fear the situation with the ASF and the futurists will only escalate. I fear times will only get more and more complicated. Okay, let's save real quick. And Governor Archie. I'm sorry, what? This is the last week available for the demo. You've played around 30%. Wait, does that mean I can't play this? Is this literally it? This is the last week available for the demo. You've played around 30% of Act 1. 30% of Act 1? How many? Wait. Scroll to view all matters. Content coming. Holy crap, we actually did all of it. Well, I guess that's it, ladies and gentlemen. I thought that just played that randomly, but no, that's it. You didn't do Governor Arjeed yet. No records on file. Cool. Historical events. All right. Well, that's it then. Oh, what did I press? Cool.
Is there anything I can mess around with before we leave, or I guess I can look at my history. Oh, I could have looked at like what people have been saying to me every time I missed it. Cool. I think that's it. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching so much. God bless and Godspeed, I guess.